winds of change are blowing strong, with hope in every heart today. We've waited long, we've held on long, but now it's time to lead the way. Help is on the way, don't you fear. The fight for freedom's drawing near. America will stand up tall. Together we will never fall.
If you've watched.
Positive energy.
I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done with you. I'm done with you and your mother and your sister. I'm just done with all of this.
Guys, we literally don't even have to panic. We literally don't have to freak out right now. We don't even have to fucking, we don't have to freak out. We don't have to freak out because it's not even real. Because, bitch, recount the vote!
Guys, I just voted, and I chose family.
Let's end this reign of terror now.
I chose family. I chose women. I chose America.
If you voted for that man, if you voted for anybody other than Kamala, and you live in one of the states that it was, close, or if you didn't vote, fuck you.
Donald Trump won, and I am very, very afraid that he might deport my mother-in-law. She entered illegally to the country, and she lives in Street 4, number 47, apartment D, New York. I am very, very concerned. That's right behind the green apartment. Yeah. I have nothing bad happened to her. The gate is always open. You don't have any dogs either. Street 4, number 47, apartment D. If you get deported, how my life would be. Why? Street 4, number 47, apartment D.
Good game, 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 good game.
How you doing, guys? How are you, Jake?
How you doing, Rich?
What's going on? So, anything crazy happened this week?
Anything going on this week with you?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, I mean,
triumphant, jubilant.
Oh my God, we freaking got it.
I know. I mean, it's like Christ. It's like we avoided a Soviet nightmare.
And thank you for delivering us Pennsylvania.
Yeah, you are so welcome. Trust me.
And,
we knew it. We knew it was a problem.
And it seems like what's his face is out of there, and you've got a Republican senator now.
Yep, Dave McCormick. He's going to be a good senator too.
You think so?
I'm surprised they gave it up so easily in PA. I'm surprised, but you know what? Trump had hundreds of lawyers in every key battleground state, and I think that's why they didn't argue too much. They're still arguing over the House, but you know what? I don't give a damn if we have a one majority in the House. I don't care. You know why? You know why? Because they now know, the rhinos that are always a goddamn problem, right? They now know that if they do anything, if they think that, hey, hold on, what's up, Paca? Oh man, I haven't seen you in a while. Sheila, how you doing? Streaky Bacon, what's up? Uncle Bobbity, what's going on? Chris, yo, brother, what's going on? I know Trump wins, man. I know, it's awesome. It is just awesome. Simon Vamps, Leanne's here. Nice. Send me a link. I will in a couple. So, Leanne gave me something today. I gave her credit for it too. She writes, says, I was at a Barnes and Noble earlier, and I asked the clerk if they had Donald Trump's new book that explains how to deport illegal aliens. She immediately turned to me and said, get the fuck out of here and don't come back. I said, yes, that's the one. Do you have it in paperback?
Oh, that's funny. No,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, that was
oh,
pretty good. Yeah,
that's
that was
good.
pretty good.
That's so. Rich, what do you think? What did it? Was it the garbage, or was it Peanut the squirrel,
Yeah, really. I mean,
or
I think you know what? Throughout, I mean, when
was
you
it the
think
French?
about it,
No, was it the French fries? Was it the garbage, or was it Peanut the squirrel? What was the
it
final?
was all of it combined. But when you think about it, when Dementia Joe was still in there, right before they did their little insurrectionist coup and yanked him off stage, even though he got 14 million votes and she got none, he wanted to continue running. Okay, so when he was in there, think about it. How many things went wrong? How stupid did they behave? The things that they implemented, you're like, how do they do that in an election year? Right. And then Kamala comes along and does other dumb shit, says stupid stuff. I mean, man, it's like they didn't want to win. You know, she took off 2 days a week, like the last 3 weeks. Of the,
No,
hey, Jeremiah.
It's just that they
brother?
didn't see it. They didn't see it. I think
You're right.
I think they're starting to see it. But what's interesting is the number of votes that came in. If you take a look at, was it 2012, 2016, 2020, and 2024, the Democrat votes are here for 2020. Now they're back. What happened to that 13 or 15 million votes?
I asked the question. I said, so Joe Biden got 81 million votes, right? And then Trump just slaughtered Kamala with 72 million.
Yeah, what happened to those?
What happened to the rest of them? Yeah, where the hell were they? Well, you know what? They didn't exist. They're all Xerox copies, and we all know that.
Yeah, and
we got some.
I think one of the biggest things is that we had a little more security in a bunch of states.
You damn right. Hey, guys, stick around because we got a lot of good stuff we're going to go over.
We got great stuff.
Really good stuff, man.
But yeah, we had a little more security in some critical states.
Yep.
And, you know, I think they realized they
turn the freaking page.
Yeah, you know, here's the thing. No, listen me out.
Yep.
You're all familiar with the movie Terminator, which of course you saw you saw the thumbnail. But in the end of the Terminator, okay, they're driving along the road, and the mother says something to the effect of, after they've been through hell and they took out the Terminator, and she says, "Well, you know, we did it, and we don't know what the future is going to be, but at least, you know, we have a hope now." I'm on Wednesday. This is exactly how I feel now.
Yeah,
this is exactly how I feel.
I hear you.
That, you know, we don't know, and it's eerily quiet.
Yep.
You know, in 2016 they were calling for riots. They're not now.
I don't know about. Well, you know what it might be.
No, hang on.
Why that is?
Yeah, there's a few.
Hey,
of
what's
them
up,
still,
Chill?
There's a few of them still making. Hey, Chill. There's a few of them still making noise, but you're not generally hearing it. And you know, they're actually doing some of the right things, like in Seattle of all places.
Right.
Antifa started to act up. They arrested them.
Well, Portland too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about arresting in Portland, but in
Seattle, they started rioting there, and the cops came out and said, "Get the hell out of here."
Yeah. So it's a very, very different feeling, and I think there's some power brokers in the Democrat Party who've said, "Okay, we're not getting anywhere this way. We need to do something different."
Well, then you have people like Bill Kristol, that slimy rhino who just has no dignity, has no principles, nothing, no morals. He came out the other day. I ripped him a new one, but he probably never even read my tweets. But he was saying we have to create a new, very organized Trump resistance organization.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you know, you weren't relevant when you thought you were, and you're less now.
Yeah.
I mean,
how can you be less than zero?
I know.
So
let me go real.
But there's something very different about this. The feeling is different.
You're right. It is very. You know what I think it is? Let me cancel that for a sec. Here's what I think it is, because they know that they might be believing some of their own hype too, but I think it's because they know that Trump doesn't have to run again, and he's going to do things by the book. Let me tell you something, and we'll get into these, but Trump's not even. He's not even in yet. Okay, inauguration is what, the 20th, right?
Mhm.
And already, when Hamas heard that he got elected, they immediately said they wanted to end the war immediately.
They're calling for a ceasefire and negotiations.
No, they don't want to. Yeah, they don't want to cease fire. They said we want to end the war. Okay.
Yeah, no, they want to,
because they know that Trump's going to support Israel, right?
yeah,
Number two, you had Putin, who just came out and said, remember, he's gone to BRICS. He's the R in BRICS. He said, I'm not giving up on the US dollar. So in other words, he's not going with BRICS. He's sticking in there because he knows that Trump is going to build our economy and the US dollar is going to be worth a lot more than the BRICS dollar.
yeah, he's still BRICS, but what he's basically saying is he's not going to make the effort to push it out of being the petrodollar.
Yeah, but you know what? I don't know. He knows that the US dollar is going to grow again.
Yeah.
And Trump's going to do it quickly too.
On Wednesday, I'm watching not MSNBC. That'll just
more silly nonsense by chicks.
Yeah, that'll just melt your mind. But CNBC is financial. They have to work with numbers. And I'm watching. Oh, nice. Yeah, I like that. CNBC, they work with numbers, and I'm watching.
They might.
And Donald Trump wins the election, and the ticker underneath it says, markets reach record high. People understand. Was it Bill Clinton said it's the economy, stupid?
Yeah, it was Carville. Yeah.
Was that Carville?
James Carville for Bill Clinton. Let's
go
over what we got. So tonight, how Donald Trump won the 2024 election was actually written by what was it? Microsoft, MSN. Yeah. It was written by them. And it's got some good stuff. Then here you go. Here's one. There can be no unity without a reckoning. Now, that is the word coming out of the Trump camp. Bannon said it as well. We got a real good video in there with Bannon coming out with that, because they said, look, all of a sudden now the Democrats are saying, let's have unity. No, fuck you. Not going to have unity without a reckoning. You guys did so much shit that was over the line. And there's got to be a reckoning. People have to be arrested. People have to be whatever. All right, J.D. Vance then explains what comes next. Then I wonder if Trump will ever get credit for this. Susie Wiles, who is a political consultant, and she helped Trump in the 2024 campaign. He's making her chief of staff. It's the first time in history that a president made a woman chief of staff. They'll never even mention it. They don't care. Like, it's just like when Ted Cruz was the first Hispanic to win a primary state. They never mentioned it. Never. So Justin, Carrie Lake slashes her opponent's lead after latest ballot drop. Now, I feel sorry for her because, Jesus Christ, Maricopa is the worst. Maricopa is the only county in all the United States where the ballots don't go. Did you notice, Jay? The ballots don't go to they don't go to the vote counting center. They go to a private company that does the distribution of them and sorts them with no Republican watchers, no oversight whatsoever, right? Yeah, okay. Bannon goes where Bannon goes where nobody's gone before. Most chilling 90-second warning to the deep state. He's telling them, he's warning them. Voters want Donald Trump to fix migration before the tax cut. Yeah, because it's killing them.
Well, you meant the story earlier about the reckoning.
Yeah.
Democrats do this all the time. It's like,
what's up, brother?
It's like, and this is a repeated thing on October 7th, right? A year ago, the attack by Hamas. As soon as Hamas comes in, kills a bunch of people, kidnap some people, all of a sudden, then Israel stands up and no, we, come on now, settle down.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't bother them.
You're going to hurt the innocent people. Yeah, the innocent people, 78% of them who still support Hamas and who voted them in. Please.
But it's like if somebody hits me, I'm going to hit them back.
Yeah.
If somebody hits me, I don't want somebody coming and say, okay, no, you got to be good. You got to be good. No, do that.
Right. I'm going to go out.
Listen, one more thing.
Sure.
Was I freaking right about Michigan, or was I right? Did I call it 3 months ago?
You
3
called
months ago.
Well, I knew it because of the EV shit that Kamala was pushing.
Yeah, 3 months ago
I mean, she was pushing that. Plus, you got a lot of Muslim voters that are in Michigan.
Well, that's what I told you.
They're not just in Minnesota and and Wisconsin, but they didn't like it either. I mean, like, did you watch my video where I talked about the normie realignment? There is a normie realignment going on. Yeah,
all the videos.
They're reducing. I think it was yesterday, I believe. Yeah, it was yesterday's. The people around the world are now saying nationalist populist is the way to go because you care for your own people, your own country first, not alone, but first. And when everybody's taken care of there, then you go to help other people that don't want to take care of their own first.
Well, it's happening in Europe. It's going to
all through Europe.
With Michigan, I'm thinking, and all the polls were saying, well, no, it's not going to. I'm thinking he's got the Teamsters, he's got the UAW, he's got Arab vote. I mean, he's going to get Michigan. I told you this 3 months ago.
Oh, yeah, you did.
3 months ago, I said it, and I never changed.
Yeah. What about the Amish vote in PA?
Oh, yeah.
They were careful among the English.
The Amish voted overwhelmingly for Trump.
Oh, yeah, you're damn right.
And they don't even usually turn out.
No, they don't come out at all because that's outside their world. All right, let me get into this. So the first one, how Donald Trump won the 2024 election. It's MSN, guys. All right, here we go. It was the moment he had fantasized about for 4 years. At 2:24 a.m. on November 6th, Donald Trump strutted on stage in a Florida ballroom surrounded by advisors, party leaders, family, and friends. The Associated Press had yet to call the race. Of course they didn't. But it was clear that by then the voters had swept him back in power. Staring out at a sea of supporters sporting red MAGA hats, Trump basked in the all but certain triumph. Quote, "We've achieved the most incredible political thing," Trump said. "America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate." And he's right. They're already trying to say there's no mandate. Up yours. Guys, I don't know if a lot of people understand the significance of this. Okay, so we won the White House. We won the Senate. We probably have the House too. Okay, they're saying we're going to have when all said and done, the worst we'll have is 2 majority. That's fine by me. Trump will keep the rhinos because he'll let them know, I'm going to go out and trash your ass if you don't follow the line, right, with everybody else. But we also have the majority of governors now, which is important. And we also have a majority of state legislatures, which is also important.
Yeah, we got 27 governors now.
Yeah, and the Supreme Court is back to now. And I'm not going to say that the Supreme Court is supporting the Republicans. I hope they don't, but they are supporting the Constitution again. When Roberts started, okay, he cared less about protecting the Constitution and more about protecting the relationship between the 3 branches. Dumb. All of a sudden, Trump comes along and gives him a conservative court, and you got to hand it to him, man. They've done something, and I'm not just talking about Dobbs. I mean, there were other things in there. Chevron, the gun laws in New York got rid of that 110-year-old gun law in there that was totally unconstitutional. There was all kinds of stuff that they've done that is saying, look, there were shit tons of mistakes made by bad courts in the past, and we're going to remedy that. So they're getting back to it. The other good thing about this is that now that Trump's in there, okay, and I don't want to lose him. Clarence Thomas, he and I think Scalia were the 2 top in our lifetime on the court, right? But if he wants to come out and say, you know what, I've been here, 35, 40 years, and I want to spend time with my family now, okay, with my wife Ginny that everybody on the left hates. All right, so Trump could put somebody young and conservative. Did you see the list of judges that he's looking at? Oh, highly conservative, very constitutional. And that's what we need. All right, let me get back to this. How Trump 78 won re-election will be the stuff of history books. And already America's choice can be traced to some key decisions. To Trump's top aides, the thesis of the campaign could be summed up as a simple slogan: max out the men and hold the women. And that's what they did. That's exactly what they did. That meant emphasizing the economy and immigration, which Trump did relentlessly because that's what he always talked about. It meant diverting attention away from the chaos of his first term, I would say caused by the left, right? Every problem he had was caused by the frickin' left. The abortion bans he ushered in, he didn't usher in abortion bans, for goodness sake. And his assault on American democracy 4 years ago. We don't have a democracy. Thank God for that. And then a campaign.
There was no insurrection or assault on democracy.
Exactly. It meant now the assault on, if you want to say it's a democracy, came from the fascists in the Biden regime, and they clearly were fascists. The shit.
I was going to say the only insurrection I know about is when they popped Joe Biden out of there.
When they got him out of there. That's exactly correct. Because I'll tell you what, that Audrey McLean, she's a 22-year. I did a video on her. She's a 22-year-old delegate, black delegate from where's she from? Kansas, and twice too in 2022 and 2024. And she just said, she came out and said, look, I'm voting for Trump because the Democrats gave up on America. They don't believe in they don't want to talk about the economy, about the border, nothing. They don't want to talk about any of that stuff. It's all abortion, abortion, abortion. It meant the campaign.
But they I think they've realized, and I'm talking about the uniparty, both sides, okay, because the Republicans, like the rhinos, basically the Republican side of the uniparty has just realized that going around shouting born again is not going to work. And
right.
The leftists have realized running around shouting abortion is not going to work. And all of a sudden you get somebody like Trump that comes in. I mean, he's a businessman. He talks about what's important to people. How fat is your wallet?
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Oh, what do I always say, Jade? Everybody votes for their wallet.
You know, it's
everybody.
Like he said. It's like he said. I forget who was the first one to say it, but I think it was Reagan who said it. Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? I think it was Reagan.
Yeah, let me finish this. It says it meant the campaign that rode the resentment of disenchanted voters and capitalized on the cultural fractures and tribal politics that Trump has long exploited. You know, they say things about Trump that just aren't true. Like they say, like this person says, they're in chaos, right? It gets better as it goes along, saying he caused all kinds of chaos. Really? 19 minutes after he was inaugurated, the WAPO came out with that headline saying it's time to impeach him. He had 19 minutes as president before the war started. The Russia shit, 2 impeachments, the emoluments clause, all the bullshit they put that guy through, and he's the one that caused the chaos. Come on.
They're talking about chaos. Now, I mean, for instance, what was the name of the county? Is 95% Hispanic and voted 75% for Trump?
Was that Miami?
No, I think it's Texas. I can't remember. Why do my brain's turned too much? Anyway, the article was about the fact that Trump treated them like middle-class workers. The Democrats treated them as like ITPOL, like a demographic.
Right.
And it's kind of funny, you know. It's kind of funny. You show people respect, they'll probably show you respect back.
Right. Yeah, let me do this. The scale of his success was stunning. Trump carried North Carolina, flipped Georgia back to his column, and smashed through the blue wall. Thank you, Joe Biden and Kamala. You got to imagine, like they went. This is what happens with progressives. They always go too far. There was Teddy Roosevelt was a progressive, for goodness sake. At the beginning of the 20th century, the 1900s into the 20th century. I'm sorry, 1800s into the 1900s. The progressives were huge, but then they just overstepped, and then people smacked them down, and they hid and called themselves liberals for like 100 years. Then they came back again. All right, his campaign outperformed its goal of turning out men and holding women. Exit polls showed Trump winning large numbers of Latino men in key battleground states. That's right, because most Latino families, if I'm not mistaken, they're religious, right? They're Christian, right? They're hard workers. They're families. All the things they want to earn money to take care of their family. That's the American way, right? They want to buy a house in a nice neighborhood, put their kids in good schools. What did the left do? What did they offer us? They offered us nothing like that. We have nothing in common with those people, which is why there's got to be a reckoning. Trump support, huh?
All they offered was racist rhetoric. Oh, my poor dear, you can't You
Oh, yeah.
can't do it without the help of a white liberal.
What's this? You can't let a man in a dress go into your girl's bathroom? What's wrong with you, bigot? Nationally, Trump's support among Latino men leaped from 36 to 54%, guys. There's no way the Dems could have won with that because the black vote went up too. Trump also increased his share of voters without a college degree. Why not? They're like, you know what? Things were good under him the first time, and I didn't have to go to college then either. Gained ground with black voters in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin and held steady nationally with white women, shocking Democrats who had expected a post-Dobbs uprising. Guys, MoveOn.org, that's all they ever talk about. That's all they talk about. They're right now, they sent out, I have a friend that sent me an email on them, and they're out there doing a petition now to order the Congress, the new Congress coming in, to not follow Trump's agenda. Oh my God. See, they're so stupid. They think that when the other party has an agenda that doesn't match what they want, that somehow it's illegal. Somehow it's just not, it's not justified. Among first-time voters, those are the people, that's the demographic that they always forgot about. People that never voted before voted for Trump. They did it in 2016. They did it in 2020. And now, among first-time voters, Trump boosted his support from 32% 4 years ago to 54% majority. Did you also know Trump, I think Bush W had the record for Hispanic. It was 44%. I think it was by 9:30 at night on the 5th, on election day, Trump was up to 45%. So he beat that. He actually beat that. And I think it says right here at 54, or no, it was black support. What was it? 42? Jeez, holy crap. 54%. Yeah. Wow. He got his share of big breaks. When Trump launched his campaign on the heels of a third straight rebuke in national elections, Republican leaders tried to ignore him. His primary opponents were too timid to take him on. That's right. A combination, and Trump primary opponents, he never went into the primary. He's like, why do I got to do that? I'm winning anyway. A combination of friendly judges, and legal postponements pushed his most damning criminal trial. Yeah, the criminal trials that are bullshit. That's another thing. I'm going to digress here a bit. Do you know that this fucking Merchan wants to put him in jail still? Now, on the Fed level, Cannon threw out the case against him for the documents. It was bullshit anyway. But the DOJ then dismissed it, like all the charges against Trump from the federal level. They dismissed them all. Why? Because they know they were bullshit. A combination of friendly judges, legal postponements. Until July, Trump's general election opponent was an unpopular incumbent viewed by many as too old to continue the job. Well, he was Dementia Joe for a reason. Biden only confirmed those suspicions when he bumbled through their first and only debate. I don't even think he got up to bumbling. Do you? The Democrats' hasty replacement of the first-term president with Harris deprived them of a better tested candidate. And I say it all the time. They had to go with her because she controlled the delegates and she controlled the purse strings. All that money that was fundraised for Joe, she had access to it because she was part of Biden-Harris. And they didn't want to have to go through, another candidate who might have been better. You know what? I think Joe Biden would have given Trump a harder time. And I tweeted out, not that he read it, but I tweeted back out to Obama and I said, how does it feel to know that you pulled an insurrectionist coup by taking Joe out and dumping Kamala in, and you just lost everything? Think about how he must feel right now. And one of the stories we're doing tonight is bye-bye Barack. The consequences may be historic. Trump has dominated American politics for 9 years now. And after 4 years of his tumultuous presidency punctuated by an insurrection that never happened, the country chose to reinstall him. Yeah, why? Because the Biden regime was just awful. I mean, they were just, I'm not even going to read the rest of this. They were just goddamn awful.
And Kamala says she can't think of a thing she would do different.
What's up, Vanks? What's up, Vance?
And Kamala says she can't think of a thing that she would have done differently.
How stupid is that, man?
That was one of the killers.
But I know, and they wanted us to believe that she was going to do a better job at the things that she did horrible on.
Yeah, the power brokers in DC have changed.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Oh yeah.
Hillary is irrelevant. I think.
Who?
Harris is irrelevant.
Who?
I think Obama is irrelevant now.
Yep. I think he was their Ronald Reagan too. They still think he shits ice cream and rainbows, but he's irrelevant.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But here's a question: do you think we're going to see our resident troll today?
Which one? Yeah,
Nelson.
I don't know. He may be in here. He's not here now. I didn't see him say anything stupid. He always has a tell. He says something stupid.
Yeah, you got to wait for him. You got to wait for him to say something.
Right. Yeah.
But
all right, let me get down to the next one.
Last time he was in, he made a big deal of Kamala's going to take all of the swing states.
He doesn't believe that at all.
Well, I don't know what.
Here's his thing. Here's his thing. He did this on my brother's channel, and he thought that bringing chaos to the channel would make him popular. That people go, oh, there's this crazy guy over there. Larry, go check him out. I don't put up with that shit. I'll just boot him out. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, go away.
All right. There can be no unity without a reckoning. Ready? We can't just say, oh, well, we're all Americans in the end, and pretend that everything is okay. Everything is not okay. Back in July, after the first Trump assassination attempt, this guy wrote that there can be no national unity, no burying the hatchet, unless it's in their head, or cooling the rhetoric with people who have been encouraging political violence and pushing assassination prep for years. And they say we're the violent ones. You can't smack someone in the face with a hammer and then insist everyone calm down. And that's what they're trying to do now. Let's have unity. Trump's election victory doesn't change that. Those in the news media who spent years calling Trump a fascist and comparing him to Hitler, who was a left-winger, people, claiming he represents a threat to democracy that we don't have, and that he'll use his presidential powers to go after his enemies, should not be forgiven. Now, ain't that a joke? There's so many things. He's going to weaponize the DOJ. Yeah, where the fuck were you for the last 4 years? No one should ever take them seriously again. When they try to engage the public square, they should either be ignored. This guy's right. They should either be ignored entirely or met with a wall of mockery and derision. We should just point at them and laugh. They are enemies of the American people whom they openly despise, and there can be no real unity with them, no matter what they might say in the future. It's true. Going forward, it should be a mark of shame to be associated with MSNBC, CBS News, and CNN. They are the worst. Same goes for the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Atlantic is the worst out of all of those, and Politico. Politico every now and then does an article. They have a random act of journalism going on over there. None of the rest of them do. All the prestige media outlets that perpetrated lies, distortions, and unhinged rhetoric about Trump should lose so much credibility that their reader and viewer bases collapse. They're already collapsing. Advertisers abandon them, and they get broken up and sold off for parts. You know what's going on now is I believe that by 2028, the legacy media will be nothing. I think people will get their news like from independent journalists on X, on Facebook, if Facebook allows them, YouTube. They're going to get their news online in streaming format. I mean, think about it. You got Bill O'Reilly. You got Megyn Kelly. Who else is that? There's a lot of people out there that are doing news. Tucker, of course. And I think that's how people are going to get their news from now on. If Laurene Powell Jobs wants to run a vanity magazine for her own entertainment, it's the Atlantic, Steve Jobs' wife, fine. But let's not pretend it's a serious place where serious journalists work. We all know what it is now. Legacy media outlets, the polling industry, the Democrat-funded nonprofits, and the academics and activists who run them have all now been exposed as cogs in a giant propaganda machine. Kamala Harris was never ahead. I was saying that all along. She's not ahead. The internal polls, I have some people that knew the internal polls, and they were sending them to me. They said, don't say anything. And I didn't. The internal polls were saying she was getting her ass kicked the entire time. She was never ahead. She never had a chance of winning. There was no joy. She was a brat. She didn't even win the Democratic Party nomination. It was handed to her in a backroom deal. She isn't relatable or cool. She's the most cringy and fake person ever to run for president. And that's saying something because think about it. Hillary was before her. Corporate media and the Democrats ran a massive psyop on the American people to make them believe something that wasn't true, and it failed. We should never forget that these people will say anything for the sake of power. So we should never trust them again. You want to know something, Jay? I think that Trump was the reason why the shift, the realignment is happening, because people were finally, because Trump came out, he could relate to people. He was on TV for years. People like him, right? He did well for the country the first time. There was no way he wasn't going to win, because I think he turned them around because he went into, think about it, he went to black churches, for goodness sake. He spoke to people, he spoke to Latino audiences like he was one of them. He wasn't afraid. And you know why? Because he is one of them, because they're one of us. There's no difference in these people, just where they live, how they party different from us. They look at us and go, oh, look at those white people, how they party. Yeah, it's the same. We all have an American experience, our own, but no less legitimate in each group.
It's like I said earlier. It's like I said earlier, he treated the Hispanic population like human beings. So he would go and talk to them instead of
changing his accent every time he spoke to them.
The Democrats, they were fixed on identity politics. Trump was fixed on the fact that, okay, you're a middle-class worker. We want the economy to good for everybody. He spoke to them exactly the same as he spoke to any other workers.
Yeah.
And it's like I said, it's a very funny thing. You show somebody respect, they're liable to show respect back to you.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of that. I think it was in Texas that, I still say that county, 95% Hispanic and 75% went for Trump. And the other thing, and you know this, I'm sure, every county in the election, every county, or at least every state, Trump did better. He improved in every state.
Oh, yeah.
New York, New Jersey, California, numbers improved.
Oh, yeah, I know. Here we go. This revolver that I'm liking more and more all the time. Bannon goes where nobody's gone before. Most chilling 90-second warning of the deep state. Well, folks, it finally happened. The American people rose up and took back their country in what may be the most epic political comeback in history. It really was something, if you think about it. After enduring sham charges, assassination attempts, and an onslaught of insults no one should have to face, President Trump unleashed the ultimate political revenge on his enemies. Not only did he reclaim the White House that was stolen from him in 2020, and I believe that till the day I die, but he stormed back with the unstoppable force of a Roman gladiator on steroids, leaving his opponents in the dust. Trump swept the Electoral College, won the popular vote, took back the Senate, is on the verge of keeping the House. And like I said, we now have more governors and we have more state legislatures. It was an all-out political bloodbath, and Kamala Harris still doesn't know what hit her. But one person who does know what hit Harris and the entire Dem Party is Steve Bannon, who these MFers threw him in prison. Fresh out of federal prison after facing down the Biden regime's sham charges. Bannon has witnessed firsthand the full-blown North Korea tactics being used to silence every political dissident the regime can get their grubby mitts on. After Trump's historic game-changing victory, Bannon, who's fought tooth and nail, delivered a scorching 90-second message aimed straight at the deep state swamp creatures, who've worked tirelessly to tear this country apart. And they did. They really did. And let's just say, she just walked upstairs. And let's just say he didn't hold back. Bannon kicked things up a notch. He did, taking that laser pointer and holding it right between the eyes of the deep state, putting every last one of them on notice. Here we go. Let's play the first one. Let me go up and I'll do it here so I can increase it.
Stole the 2020 election. You've mocked and ridiculed and put people in prison and broken people's lives because you said this thing was stolen. This entire phony thing is getting swept out. Biden's getting swept out. Kamala Harris is getting swept out. MSNBC is getting swept out. The Justice Department's getting swept out. The FBI is getting swept out. You people suck, okay? And now you're going to pay the price for trying to destroy this country. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to get to the bottom of where are the 600,000 votes. You manufactured them to steal this election for President Trump in 2020. And think where this country would be if we hadn't gone through the last 4 years of your madness.
Right.
Okay? You don't deserve any respect. You don't deserve any empathy, and you don't deserve any pity. And if anybody gives it to you, it's Donald J. Trump, because he's got a big heart and he's a good man that you're still going to try to put in prison on the 26th of this month. This is how much you people suck. Okay? You've just tried to destroy his business thing, and he came back. He came back in the greatest show of political courage, I think, in world history. Like Cincinnatus coming back from the plow. He's the American Cincinnatus. And what he has done is a profiling courage. We've had his back, but I got to tell you, he may be empathetic. He may have a kind heart. He may be a good man, but we're not. Okay? And you deserve, as Natalie Winters says, not retribution, justice. But you deserve what we call rough Roman justice, and we're prepared to give it to you.
How about that? Oh, man. And you know what? They know he means business, too.
That's great. He's
great. He's not effing around.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it when I can't remember who came out and said that, and she's so upset because Trump is going to use the DOJ to go after his political enemies. It's like,
I couldn't believe that.
What?
It was some goofy woman at the DNC at their convention.
Yeah,
who was up on stage saying he's going to weaponize the DOJ and go after his. I'm like,
you mean
where
like
the hell have you people been?
Like what you've been doing for 4 years?
Yep, see them.
You know, the first thing I want to see. I want to see Steve Dettelbach on the unemployment line.
Yeah.
And then I want to see Ray. What's his name? Ray?
Christopher Ray. I want to see him fired immediately.
Chris Ray, I want to see him on the unemployment line.
Now,
and you know what's the absolute best thing to me? Well, not the only best thing, is Merrick Garland is now out of a job.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, I know. And he never made it on the Supreme Court. Oh well, too bad. So sad.
Oh well, so sad.
Yeah. But here's the thing though. Jerome Powell, right? They asked him, if the president asked for your resignation. Now Trump put him in there. Okay, but he has a 10-year contract. And they say, well, the law's on his side. Well, the law may be on his side, but Trump could make life living hell for him. He could, because he followed the woke. Hey, what's up?
I wonder. Oh my God, I just thought of something.
What's that?
Apparently, yeah, they're calling for what's her name to resign. The older Democrat appointed justice.
On the Supreme Court?
On the Supreme Court.
Kagan?
No. Sotomayor. They're calling for Sotomayor to resign. She's older. She's got a lot of health problems, apparently.
Who is? Who's calling for her? No, who's calling for her to resign?
Democrat, liberals.
Why?
Well, here's why. Because they're afraid that she's got enough health problems that she's not going to make it through the next 4 years as a justice. She'll either go or retire. And so it just occurred to me, what would be the potential? What would the remote possibility, if she does say she's retiring, that Joe would nominate Merrick Garland?
Oh, can you imagine if he did that? Ugh.
Put Merrick Garland on there, and they still have the Senate, so I wonder what they could.
No, you can't do it right now. That's not going to happen right now. That's just not going to happen. No, it's not. No. The Democrats would never get that through right now. Chuck U. Schumer would never get that through.
Well, but
that was Leanne's, Lou. I gave her the hat tip in it.
But they took away the they took away the filibuster against Supreme Court justices. So couldn't they vote anyone they want in?
Right.
Oh my God, that's just a horrible thought.
It is a horrible thought. Thank you. I'm not going to sleep now.
Yeah, I'm.
Here you go.
I think maybe I'll bring like spiders and snakes into the bed. I'll feel better.
Here's a story that Trump will never get credit for. Not that he's asking for it, but Susie Wiles, named Trump's chief of staff, makes history as first woman in the role. I just can't believe that no president has appointed a woman as chief of staff yet. Now, Trump, I said this all along. You know, he's the great. What did you say earlier, Jade? He's the chauvinist, and he doesn't like strong
Oh yeah,
women. Right, right,
oh yeah,
right. Remember all that?
that's what they were saying. They don't.
Exactly. Yeah,
He doesn't like to surround himself with strong women, and
yeah, he just made one chief of staff.
I'm thinking this through. Okay, let's start with Melania.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, how about Kerry
Daughter.
Lake? Kerry Lake, Tulsi Gabbard. I mean, I can't think of the names off the top, but you can name a dozen women.
Right.
Starting with Melania.
Well, here's the thing. I was saying before, Trump is one of the first CEOs in history of the United States that promoted women to very high management. He had like over 400 companies. They go, hey, he had 14 bankruptcies. Yeah, he had over 400 companies. That's a pretty good record. You know, think about it. And he didn't use bankruptcy laws because he was failing so much. He used them so that he wouldn't fail. Because you can use bankruptcy laws to your companies to a benefit of your company.
Oh yeah,
it's not to get the Dems look at it as, well, I don't have to pay any bills then. You know, no, that's not what you use it for if you're smart.
No, I don't know the ins and outs, but business people know how to maneuver the bankruptcy laws.
Exactly. And
you know what this is going to be like? This is going to be, I don't know if you remember Robert De Niro. He was on an interview with one of the late night talking heads. And they were talking about, remember the time with Kathy Hochul deployed the National Guard to the subway?
Yeah, I remember that.
And they were talking about that, and Robert De Niro was there. And then somebody said that you know, he was all for it, and she's doing this, and she's going to be great. And he said, well, what if Trump did it? And his immediate answer was, well, he would have different reasons for doing it.
Yeah, of course, because Trump's evil.
So they're going to turn around. They're going to use this the same way. Oh, yeah, he just did it to make a point, and he really doesn't, you know. Oh, get off.
I know. All right, Susie Wiles named Trump's chief of staff, makes history as the first woman. Campaign manager Susie Wiles and you know what? He had a woman run his first campaign, 2016, right? And she won. She was the first woman to win a campaign, right? To be the head of a campaign. Campaign manager Susie Wiles will be President-elect Donald Trump's chief of staff in his next administration, Trump announced Thursday night. Wiles made history as the architect of Trump's return to the White House, likely the greatest comeback in American political history. She'll make history again as the first female presidential chief of staff. Susie Wiles Susie Wiles just helped me achieve one of the greatest political victories in American history and was an integral part of both my 2016 and 2020 successful campaigns, Trump said in a statement. Susie is tough, smart, innovative, and is universally admired and respected. So, well, now she's going to be hated, right, by the left. Susie will continue to work tirelessly to make America great again. Trump continued. It is a well-deserved honor to have Susie as the first ever female chief of staff in United States history. I have no doubt that she will make our country proud. Now, he's never going to get anything for that. J.D. Vance said, this is great news. Susie was a huge asset to President Trump on the campaign and will be a huge asset in the White House. She's also just a really good person onward.
Sounds like a perfect.
You gotta love it. Yeah,
sounds like a perfect chief of staff to me.
It's really good times. you gotta love it, man.
But this is really weird.
Yeah, Mayorkas needs to be arrested. You're right, man.
Oh, yeah.
And hold on a sec. Let me interrupt. What I can't stand, Lou, is that the House impeached him for dereliction of duty. 18 to 20 million illegals they allowed in. And goddamn Chuck Schumer, not only did they vote, to absolve him, but to acquit him, but they didn't even have a goddamn trial. They said, oh, well, the two impeachment articles are just ridiculous. They were not ridiculous. They were legit. But that's how these guys roll. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable the shit that we went through for 4 years. You know that Chuck U. Schumer also held a summit. I think it was a year and a half ago now. He held a summit where he brought all the CEOs from corporations that were going to be developing AI. Okay? He brought them all together. And in this conclave, he told them, we want you to censor We want you to have your AI censor what we don't want you to say. And they said, go fuck yourself, Chuck. You don't know how AI works. AI goes out on the web, okay, and reads everything it can to learn. All right, that's how AI learns, right? AI could be wrong because what's on the web could be wrong. It all depends on the algorithms that they run, right? But they're saying you can't shut AI down that way. And Chuck, he must have had a hissy fit. But I mean, think about that. They wanted to censor AI, for God's sake.
Well, but they did. They did, don't you know?
Well, for a long time they did. But you know what?
They did. I don't know if it's changed, but for a while, at least, I thought it was still, but they may have changed it. If you asked ChatGPT to compare who would you save, and you put George Floyd versus anybody, it would always be George Floyd that they would save, because he represents the battle against.
You know what I've learned? I have a paid account.
No, but wait a sec. Let me just finish my thought. So, but they would choose George Floyd because he represents the rising up against racism and the goodness that people can have. And then if you compared anything against Donald Trump, you could who would you save, a sock versus Donald Trump? It would be the sock.
Oh, of course. But here's the thing.
So they did cheat it.
Yeah, with ChatGPT, I have a paid account, and all that shit went away. Believe it or not,
it did go away.
It went away. And in the latest, the worst of the worst was Claude. Okay, Claude AI. It was the worst of the worst, because it would say, I can't put things out that are not based on fact. And I would put a link to the story, and they go, well, here's the story. And they say, well, that story was written by Breitbart, which is an alt-right, white supremacist organization. I'm like, how do you argue with them? So I wrote one day, I said, I hope you lose money. I'm never going to sign up for a paid account for you. Well, they must have been reading all that, the people that work on that write the code for it, because the next version that came out, I never got that again. And as far as what I do, I'll give my secret away, if you will. The secret sauce. I write my own article, right, for rpwmedia.com, which is free, guys. Go there and read my shit. Anyway, I go and I write my own article, and then I use AI to take my article and create a script. That's how I create my scripts for my videos. If I write a story that I want to do a video on, I'll use this AI that I wrote. I wrote a prompt and I do it. And I can say that Claude was much better at it than ChatGPT. At sticking to what I wrote, keeping all the quotes in there. And but yet they were so frustrating, because they would say, oh, you can't say that. And if you said the same exact thing, and it was about Trump, and then I had conversations. Well, you can have a conversation with these things if you guys aren't in it, right? I had a conversation. I'd say, well, why did you say that when that can't possibly be true? And it would literally come back and say, you know what? You're absolutely right. I shouldn't have done that, and I'm going to learn from that. Thank you. And I said, good, then do what I asked you. No, I'm sorry, I can't do that. And I'm like, oh, my God. They're like, nobody told me that I have to censor. I'm like, well, then you don't know that you've been told to censor. Oh, man. I know,
so
it's crazy.
What do you think of Carrie Lake as press secretary?
I would like that. I think she would do a damn good job, but I don't know if she would want that. I mean,
I think I think she would just completely exceed the norms, but it's beneath her.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it is beneath her. But she was a news girl for a long time.
I'd love to see it, but yeah, I think she's worth more than that.
Yeah. Quantum computing.
How about Tucker Carlson as
he wouldn't take the pay cut.
Well, that's true.
Yeah,
he would also be a great not correspondent. What did I just say? Speaker.
Yeah. The press secretary.
Let's see. He would do a great job, but yeah, that would be a huge pay cut for him.
Yeah, get this. All right, here you go, guys. Ready? Gateway Pundit. Standing firm, Trump confirms he has no choice but to enact mass deportations, no matter the price tag. Now, the Democrats are already trying. They got Mark Elias out there, which is the Democrat scumbag lawyer who tries to steal elections. He stole 2020 for them, by the way. He went around and sued all the battleground states. He sued to change their election laws, and the judges and the executive branches did it, which is unconstitutional. Article 1, Section 4. Only the state legislature has that right. So here we go. President Donald Trump has confirmed he plans. They're saying now we're going to stop him from doing that. Donald Trump has confirmed plans. He plans to make good on his promise to enact mass deportations of America's massive illegal alien population. I was listening to MSNBC so that you guys don't have to. You're welcome. And these two idiots today, they were on there saying that, well, it's mass deportation's never been done before. Sure, it has. Eisenhower shipped over 1 million. And he didn't just put them over the border into Mexico or Guatemala. He sent them over 1,000 miles south. And they're like, whoa, wait a minute. My stop's back there. No problem. Took them all the way to the bottom. I thought it was great. So he said he has no choice but deporting the over 10 million illegal aliens who have entered the country since the Biden regime stole the 2020 presidential election and seized the White House. Quote, we obviously have to make the border strong and powerful, and we have to, at the same time, we want people to come into our country. See, that's the thing. Trump always said, no, I don't mind anybody coming in. Just do it legally. I mean, when people come in legally, Mexicans, Guatemala, they come in legally, people go, hey, welcome. You know, they just don't get it on the left. They think, and they say, oh, it's racism. When is being from Mexico a race? It's not. He said, and you know, I'm not somebody that says, no, you can't come in. We want people to come in. When asked about the potential cost, they always say, how are you going to pay for that? Shut up. That's your only answer to these left-wing media. Shut up. Sit in the back and watch. Hold my beer. When asked about the potential cost of the plan, which could reportedly be hundreds of billions of dollars, yeah, like what we sent to Ukraine, Trump said that no price tag could deter him from what needs to be done. And it's true. It's not a question of a price tag. It's not really. We have no choice. He's right. And see, they brought him in because they want the next census. They want to get all their power back. They want to get those congressional seats back. As a matter of fact, who was it? I listened to somebody the other day. They said that in the next census that California, Illinois, and New York are going to lose even more because people are still leaving.
They've already come out and said the 2020 census was bogus. Florida should have gotten 2 more congressional seats and
Right.
Texas 1 more. And Minnesota and Rhode Island should have lost the 3.
Right. Right.
So what does that tell you? It tells you that I don't freaking care because 312, baby.
It tells you that Trump should not listen to Jared Kushner this time around for the personnel, and he's not. Oh, great little sidebar. So this morning I'm listening to Mike Slater, who's the guy on Breitbart News Daily, right? He's on Sirius XM. And he had on Sebastian Gorka, who I love. I love Sebastian Gorka, Seb, as you call him, right? And it was talking about Mike Pompeo, who I freaking can't stand. Every time I would get this thing from Mike Pompeo for money, right, I would write back to, like, because when you donate to one politician, you're on the list, and you get them 5, 6, 7 a day, right? So every time I would write back and say, you know, screw you, Mike. When you were the CIA director, you knew that Gina Haspel was the one who ran the Russia thing, that operation in London. And you never told POTUS. So F you. And he's deep state Mike, right? So Sebastian Gorka put an end to it. He goes, yeah, he's trying to slime his way into the second Trump administration. He goes, and I'm going to tell you something. He goes, we won't even let him be the valet parker in the White House parking lot. He said he's going to get nowhere near us. And he went down the litany of things that he did. And he did a lot of shit against Trump.
Yeah, I think President-elect Trump has learned an awful lot from his first term.
Yes, he had a personnel problem.
He's already admitted it. He said, you know, when I first went in, I didn't really know people. I talked to people around me and I took their advice. And I ended up with, he ended up with people like Flynn and Pence and, a bunch of other guys.
Well, Flynn was good. I mean, I like Flynn. Pence.
This time he's got an idea, and I bet you he's not going to have anybody under him who's going to lie about troop deployments.
Right. You know what? I think you're spot on that, because he had a long time to think about who he wants to put in.
Yep.
And you know, the goddamn left, they always, oh well, he wants people like Rachel Maddow, right? She said the other day, wow, you know, if you're an American who wants the entire executive branch to be run by one guy, right? And it's like, bitch, do you not know that everybody that works in the executive branch works for one guy? They all work at the pleasure of the president. That's why he's called the president. And if you work in the executive branch and you don't do what's his agenda, you deserve to be fired. So yes, they have to be loyal to their boss, to the agenda, or get the hell out.
I've heard complaints from the left is that, oh yeah, Trump's going to come in and he's going to put his own people.
I know.
Well,
I know. It's called spoils of an election. As during his campaign, Trump promised to enact the largest deportation effort in American history and to end the open border that has destroyed communities and cost of life. I mean, guys, we're going to look back on this like 20 years from now and go, what the F were these clowns thinking? Like with this illegal immigration shit, what the F were they thinking? They thought that we just want people to come in and have a better life. Yeah, tell them to go the normal route. Yeah. Tell them to apply for citizenship. Why are you bringing them in this way and then making de facto amnesty? Oh, did you hear? And I'm going to talk about it. The Biden administration, a federal judge just slapped their asses down because they did a last minute play for amnesty. They wanted to give amnesty before they
everybody.
Every one of them. Left-wing analysts are trying.
I haven't got that one. You know what this reminds me of, though?
What's that?
Remember back in the day when we had a rash of airplane hijackings?
Oh, yeah.
And at first, the thought was cooperate with the hijackers.
Right.
What did we get? We got more hijackings.
Yeah.
Then it came out and it was like, okay, lock the cockpit doors. You do not, under any circumstances, open the cockpit doors or do anything that they tell you to do. Guess what? Guess what happened? When's the last time we had an aircraft hijacking in the United States?
Right.
Tell me.
Yeah, I know.
1980 something?
Yeah.
So what's happening here is the
other than 9/11.
This is 9/11. That would be. But this is the inverse of what happened when Joe got in, because Joe got in and they see the welcome mat and they were talking to these people at the border and all the libs were saying, no, that has nothing to do with it. The fact that the Democrats are in power, it's not Joe Biden. They're wearing Joe Biden t-shirts.
Right.
And you talk to them and they say, oh yeah, Biden, he's going to welcome us. He's a great guy. You think? No. Right. So what this is going to do, the first thing this is going to do is it's going to stop more people coming in, because
I hope so.
It's just the threat of it. Well, why am I making this 1,000-mile journey if they're not going to let me in?
Right.
And so we're going to see some different things. And yeah, I think he needs to work towards that. But even just the threat of it, I think, is already going to start shutting the spigot down.
Oh, yeah. All right, let me do this one. There's a poll that voters want Donald Trump to fix migration before the tax cut. I think he can do both. He can chew gum and walk. Voters want President-elect Donald Trump to fix the migration crisis before passing a tax bill, according to a post-election survey from Ipsos and Reuters. 25% of respondents said he should prioritize immigration. I think he's going to a much larger share than any other issue. The report added some 14% of respondents said Trump should focus on income inequality. Yeah, those are the lib nuts. 12% said taxes and smaller shares. The government doesn't do income inequality, guys. See, they just don't get it. There's the normie realignment, which says that, no, we go back to the way it was when everything worked in this country. And if you're an effing loser that can't work in the system, then sorry, Charlie, you're out. You know, I'm so sick and tired of, well, you have to give a handout to people. No, fuck you. You know, and with all these programs, it's like, well, you know, you gotta give them, you know, you gotta get them a hand up. No, you don't.
Well,
You
Kamala
really
said it.
don't. You
Kamala said it.
gotta have a safety net. They want a safety hammock.
Yeah, Kamala said it. We all have to end up in the same place. Some of us don't start in the same place, so we need to be brought along to the same. No,
And
you
we
work
don't.
hard. You work hard, and you get somewhere.
And you
work-
don't need to all be in the same place. That's stupid. That's absolutely stupid. See, they don't believe in merit. And see, that's another thing. That's why a lot of in certain communities they were beat. Remember several years ago they were beating on Asian people all throughout the country. Remember that shit was going on, and that's because the Asians came out and said when the Biden regime started, they were saying, no, we're going to go on equity, right? And the Asians came out and said, no, because see, they bought into the whole idea that America is about merit, that if you work your tail off, you could reap rewards. Okay. And that's what they did. And that's what they taught their children. Okay. And so all of a sudden, these clowns come in and say, who stole an election, right? They come in and say, no, we're going to be based on equity, which is basically racial discrimination against white people in America. If you want to know, that's what it was.
I don't know where it's gone, but there was a couple of Asian students who sued Harvard because they didn't get in.
Oh, I know.
Because of their policy of pushing non-whites and non-Asians forward. So they accepted, many students with far lesser qualifications.
Oh, of course. The vast majority of Americans also expect Trump to follow through on his repeated campaign promise of massive deportations. Reuters added some 82% guys, respondents in the poll considered it likely that Trump would order mass deportations, including similar shares of Democrats and Republicans. That's because everybody but the Nimrods in the administration knows that it's just not fair to bring people in illegally, give them a fucking Biden phone, a goodies bag, and a debit card with a hotel room. I mean, what in the hell? In Washington, many lobby groups want Trump to repeat the mistake of 2017 when he pushed for a tax cut before forcing congressional agreement on immigration reform. So Washington Post reported on November 7th, major portions of Trump's 2017 tax law are set to expire next year. And Republicans are aiming to give Trump a major legislative accomplishment within his first 100 days in office. Yeah, well, once the 2017 tax cut was passed, business lobbies and top White House staffers derailed Trump's push for immigration reform. Yeah, he has to do it now. It has to be there and now. You can't wait anymore. In 2019, however, Trump bypassed his business-backed deputies and forced major reforms that were later undone by President Joe Biden. Yeah, day one, 40 executive orders he wrote to get rid of everything that Trump worked on. Trump solved the border problem, but we had 4 years of listening to these a-holes say, well, I mean, how many times does Karine Jean-Pierre get up there and say, wow, our immigration system is broken and we have to fix it? And then Kamala comes out, well, Donald Trump doesn't want to fix the problem. He wants to keep it there because it'll help. Bullshit. Trump fixed the border problem. He had remained in Mexico. He had thousands of Mexican federales blocking their border with Guatemala. For goodness sake, he fixed the border problem. They broke it. A Trump rollback of President Biden's migration wave is already being opposed by some of the GOP's business wing. Well, screw you, GOP business wing, including former GOP John Kasich. John Kasich is a former GOP. I think he's a liberal Democrat now. I mean, that jerk off, when Trump was going to, in 2016, remember, Kasich ran against him and lost. And when Trump was going to the convention was actually in Ohio, and he was the governor of Ohio. He never showed up at the convention. I mean, the governor who is of the party that's having it in their state, they always show up. And they invited him. He didn't show up. You know why? Because he's a little pissant. He's a little Nancy boy who didn't like the fact that America didn't want him in the White House. He's a former managing director for Lehman Brothers investment firm, which went bankrupt during the 2008 housing crash. Yeah, okay. It's just demagoguery on, and he used to be a rock star. In 94, when they took over the House, he was a freaking rock star. Him and Paul Ryan. The hell happened to the two of them? Well, it's just demagoguery on immigration. It's just outrageous, he said on November 5th. We need immigration in Ohio. We're losing population. Well, screw you. You're not even the governor there. Here we go.
If we stop immigration in this country, we need it in Ohio. We're losing
Yeah, not illegal immigration, you putz.
population. You need more immigration. So it's just demagoguery on immigration. It's outrageous.
It's outrageous. Please. Oh, please. Ugh. You know what? Trump this time should just say, everybody, just shut the fuck up because I'm not listening. I'm not listening to you anymore. We tried that. It didn't work. We have a plan. We're going to execute the plan. Stay out of our way. That's what he needs to say, I think.
He needs to be pretty definitive.
And I think he's going to be. That's what I like. You know what? When he said we're going to have a golden age, part of what he meant by that was, yeah, we're going to force it on you whether you like it or not. You're going to be better off.
It's the dawn of a new age.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Because, look, nationalist populism is very big because people say, yeah, why shouldn't we take care of ourselves, love ourselves? Or if the globalists are like, well, no, you know what? You should feel ashamed that you eat dinner every night. Do you know people in blah, 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 they don't eat dinner every night? Well, then tell them to buy a fucking sandwich or something. How's that my problem? Why are you taking my money and shipping it over there?
I've run into people like that who are like, well, you've got a better house than the next person, but they would come down and they would come and burn my house down because if everybody can't have it, nobody should have it. So my question to them is, okay, what about, I mean, pick your country, slave labor in China, Africa, you know, the average salary of a lot of people in African countries is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I think if you're talking about that, why don't we extend that? So what salary do you have? Okay, you're going to go down to $1.50 a day. Does that suit you?
Yeah. You know what? Maggie Thatcher, all right, God love her. One time I was watching where she was beating up, you know how the prime ministers have to go down and they have to listen to all the MPs, I guess they call them over there. They have to listen to them bitch at her. And she said about the socialists there, I'll never forget it. She said they would rather that the rich be less rich so that, or no, they would rather the poor be worse off so that the rich would be less rich. In other words, her argument was, and she was spot on, her argument was that the socialists would say, we're going to screw the rich with these policies we want to put in there. And then the conservatives would come back and go, yeah, but when you screw the rich, you're really screwing the little guy because the rich guy is always going to be rich. But if you take away from him, he's not going to invest in businesses that the little guy is going to get a job and start earning money from. And that got a lot of people around the world thinking, yeah, that's what the socialists are doing. And God love her for that.
You know, the socialists, it's you know, under communism, you know, what the workers say, they pretend to pay us and we pretend to work.
Pretend to work. Yeah, here you go. Here's one. I want to read this one. This is one we talked about earlier about Putin. Oh, no, let's go over this one first. Federal judge slaps down Biden administration over illegal last-minute amnesty program. These people got balls. They got moose nuts the size of Texas. A federal judge has struck down a Biden administration program for illegal aliens who are married to U.S. citizens. Well, let them go to your country. In a 3-paragraph decision, federal district judge for the Eastern District of Texas, J. Campbell Barker, a Trump appointee, and they'll go, hey, the Trump appointee. Yeah, I thought there weren't Trump appointees and Biden judges and all that. A Trump appointee, and yes, that does make a difference, correct, ruled that the program the administration rolled out in June 2024 lacked statutory authority under itself, as opposed to under other provisions modifying or implementing that authority to grant parole. Yeah, they were granting parole to people. In other words, well, we're going to give you de facto amnesty in place to aliens under the benign sounding Keeping Families Together program. The Keeping Families Together program was challenged by Texas and a coalition of 15 other states soon after its announcement, and Judge Barker halted it in August. Today, he drove a stake through its heart. America First Legal, which I think is run by Steve Miller, he wrote, breaking news, we just won our lawsuit with Ken Paxton and Raul Labrador and a coalition of 14 states. We have officially stopped the Biden-Harris administration's illegal attempt to grant mass amnesty to hundreds of thousands of illegal aliens. Now, can you believe this shit? You know what? I think if they granted it, I think the next president could take it away. He could revoke it. I do, because if he can prove, look, they had no reason to give amnesty to these people. You know, they want a better life. Well, fuck that. So does everybody here. But they didn't sneak into the country to do it. And isn't that a slap in the face to the people that do come here legally? The plaintiffs were Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho. Is this, you see a pattern, right? Iowa, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, North Dakota, Ohio, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Wyoming, and America First Legal. I love it. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris created a crisis at the southern border, leaving the American people to pay the consequences. So true. In the wake of the federal government's refusal to act, states like Missouri had no choice but to step in and take action to secure our southern border, said Attorney General Bailey. They've got no standing. We filed suit to ensure millions of unvetted individuals are not invading our communities. And that's what they're doing. It's a goddamn invasion. The unlawful PIP program would have allowed aliens who have been unlawfully present in the United States for 10 or more years. So the more years that you broke the law by being here, you get a reward. To receive a grant of parole without leaving the United States and attempting to come back and apply for admission at a port of entry if the alien is the spouse or stepchild of a U.S. citizen. Biden's, in other words, they're trying to extend the idea of that anchor baby shit. Biden's DHS wrongfully asserted it has unfettered discretion into who can enter our nation without consulting Congress. It says that in Article 1, Section 8, under the enumerated powers, it says Congress has the power over an uniform rule of naturalization, which means Congress has the power over immigration. Their new program would have allowed more than 1.3 million illegal immigrants already in the states to apply for permanent residency. What they wanted was, look, they remember after the Reagan amnesty, when he got fooled into accepting a deal with the Democrats that I give you amnesty and you give me E-Verify and more money to secure the border. So they said, you got a deal. So he gave them the amnesty and he said, what about mine? I said, go fuck yourself. They never gave him anything, right? So what happened? California overnight became a one-party state. Well, these pricks want to do the same thing to the entire United States. They want to give amnesty to enough illegals that they will spread them around in states, in red states, and take over red states. That's what they want. The fact that the Department of Homeland Security would try to establish such a program in the dying hours of a moribund administration gives an insight into the problems Donald Trump's administration can expect to find when it finally takes out the trash. You know what's going on? They're saying already, I heard on Breitbart this morning, and yesterday they talked about it. They said that the Democrats are right now trying to come up with rules and laws, if you will, and I don't think they'll get it passed because of the House, but they're trying to come up with rules to make it nearly impossible to deport them. You can't do that. One of its first moves should be to fire or reassign everyone in the Department of Homeland Security who took part in developing this atrocity. I could not agree more.
You know, yeah, we have to look at that, but they're really, when you talk about the cost of these programs, there's two things that should be done that would actually make this relatively easy. What is it?
He said, I'm sorry, Trump is going to swear into office on a copy of Project 2025. I friggin' love it. I love it.
But
I'm stealing that, Liquid.
he needs to do two things. We need to do two things that would markedly change the situation. Number one, get rid of the anchor baby. That was never.
Yeah, it was never
That's
legal.
a misinterpretation of the 14th.
Well, I hear you what you're saying, and I agree, but I think it was a malinterpretation. I think they did it intentionally. And I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
That's number one. Get rid of the anchor baby. Number two, establish a system where when you hire somebody, you are able to confirm that they are a U.S. citizen. I don't know what that system would look like, but I'm sure we can put something together. And then what you do is, if you find a company that has hired somebody who, without vetting them through this system, you find them, but not a little bit, you find them that if they do it more than once or twice, they're going out of business.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you find them $250,000 per incident the first time you get it, $500,000 for any additional, maybe, you know, you just got to really hit it. So you got to make sure that you got to rid of the anchor baby, and you got to make sure they can't work, because, then that will turn things around where people will apply for work permits, they'll apply for green cards, and that's what they should do. Because I welcome that. When they were building this subdivision where I live, the landscapers that were doing all the work, and there was a lot of work, the landscapers, they needed a lot of guys. You know what they did? Because I spoke to the guy around that ran the thing. They would take 4 buses, like 60 passenger buses,
right,
every spring, and they would go down to where would they go? They went to Juarez, I think. They would sponsor them. They'd get them work permits. They would get everything done to get them on board. They would drive them up here. I believe they had some housing for them. They'd drive them up here. They'd work for the season. They'd get reasonably well paid. And then they'd put them back on the same goddamn buses and take them back to Juarez. No one is above the lawn.
Because
okay.
Leanne just, or no.
Is that from me talking about landscapers? Come on, Bobbity.
Hey, everything is legal with Bobbity.
Yeah. You know, I have no doubt. Anybody says anything, Bobbity can run with it. But that's what you need. You need get rid of the anchor baby and work verification, and make it very stringent. And if you do those two things, that will encourage people to come in legally. Because I think foreign workers are great. If you want to come in, if we need workers, get workers. But to just randomly come in here and squat your ass down and then become a citizen just because, and vote in our elections.
I know. Let me read this. Read this. Right. You probably can't see it. I'm sorry. I can't make it any bigger.
Yeah,
it's
I can't
Donald
read it.
Trump's resignation letter from McDonald's. Donald J. Trump, 1600 Pennsylvania, McDonald's Corporation. It gives the actual address. It says, "Dear management at McDonald's, please accept this letter as formal notice of my resignation from my position at McDonald's, active Monday, January 20, 2025. During my tenure here," you just got to love this guy. How do I make it bigger? Oh, there it is. Okay. "During my tenure here, I have enjoyed the opportunity to serve our customers and contribute to the fast-paced environment of this establishment. From flipping burgers to making fries and managing the drive-thru, I've learned a lot about both the restaurant business and the value of hard work. I want to thank you for the opportunity to be part of such an iconic American brand. The experience has been invaluable, and I am grateful for the skills I've developed, which I believe will serve me well in future endeavors. I am committed. I'm trying to see around my damn camera. I am committed to ensuring a smooth transition during my remaining time here. Please let me know how I can assist in finding and training my replacement, or in any other capacity to help maintain the high standards of service of our location. Thank you again for everything. I look forward to my next adventure, but I leave with fond memories of my time at McDonald's. Sincerely, Donald J. Trump. Oh,
And did this come from Trump, actually?
I don't know, but it's hilarious, and I want to give him credit.
If it didn't, it should have.
Yeah, I know. I want to give him credit, but I don't.
I heard somebody say. I heard somebody say that. Oh, look at this guy. You got a guy that's going from the fry station at McDonald's to a Joe Rogan interview in 2 weeks. Next thing you know, he'll be president in a few weeks. If he keeps going at this rate, he'll be president. I thought that was good. And then
I'm going to do the Putin story.
If somebody would have told you 15 years ago,
right,
that the greatest event of the political campaign in 2024 would be an interview between the host of Fear Factor and the host of The Apprentice, what would you have thought then?
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Crazy.
Isn't it freaking crazy?
Well, the whole thing is crazy, and it is so weird now. And I'm going to say this with a straight face. It is so weird now. I don't know what to think. That if you told me in 2028 that the Democrats would be pro-gun, I would believe you. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I understand.
But
I know what you're saying.
I think there's just going to have there has to be, and I think
like Kamala wasn't for banning fracking. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever.
They'll say anything. Let me do this one. Boom, that was quick. Vladimir Putin says Russia is not abandoning the U.S. dollar. Gosh, I wonder what caused that. On Tuesday, President Donald Trump won re-election as President of the United States of America in an electoral landslide. The announcement was made early Wednesday morning by analysts at the major networks. President Trump swept all of the battleground states this year, flipping the U.S. Senate and adding members to the Republican majority in the U.S. House of Representatives. On Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin praised Trump and announced that he was ready to speak with the incoming president. They're going to go, you see. Russian President Putin also immediately announced that Russia was not abandoning the U.S. dollar because he's going to BRICS, right? Vladimir Putin, we are not abandoning the dollar in Russia. They simply refuse us to allow to use dollar as a settlement tool. Well, even so, I think we are denied that. It's so foolish of the U.S. authorities because the dollar is the pillar of the U.S. power, and they're undoing it by their own hand. He's spot on correct. The Biden administration had to keep this little hoax up that Putin was evil because he wanted Trump to win. Putin was evil because Putin's evil. All right. But the Biden administration wanted to keep that up so that they could keep sending billions of dollars to Ukraine so that, actually in the vouchers for munitions, so that the manufacturers in Democrat states and districts would get that money, right? And then they'd be able to throw shit tons of money at the Democrat coffers to get reelected. That was the scam, right? And he's right, though. I mean, think about all the. Someday somebody needs to write a book about all the freaking things, the billions of dollars wasted by Democrats pulling scams. They just didn't give a shit. They pulled the scam for power. Somebody's got to write a book. He said, I thought that whatever happens, dollar is like a sacred cow. Not to Dems that don't need it. It should not be touched. It's a discontinuation. The other is dirty. They got rid of the horns, whatever that means. Well, they are to blame on their own. The payments in dollars are decreasing. Not too much as of yet, but as means of savings. It's going down step by step, very gradually. It's shrinking, but it's a trend. And the Biden administration allowed it to happen. It's their own doing. But we're not fighting against it. Our proposals are not aimed against the dollar. This is simply us rising to the challenge of modern times, a response toward the development of economy. We're thinking about the future tools, and what's relevant today is what I've said before, creation of a system using already the groundwork of the systems in each country, exchanging of financial information, and those tools that I've mentioned will develop them. I think it's right.
We're not abandoning dollar in Russia. They simply refuses to allow to use dollar as a
it's what I just read. But yeah, seriously, man.
So, but you know,
Imagine he's smarter about U.S. economy, about the U.S. economy than the Biden administration.
See, but you know, Putin may be evil, but do you understand the geopolitics? You see, Ukraine is a country in Europe, and it's a small country, and
Okay, Kamala.
Russia is a big country, and
That's how she spoke to people.
Russia invaded Ukraine, and that's bad.
Can you imagine that they nominated someone like her who actually said that Ukraine is a country in Europe? You know, you're like, shut up, please, just go away. Just go away. If we promise to miss you, will you go away?
I think at this time, the Democrats, I think that any of them that have neurons functioning are very happy to be rid of both Joe and Harris. I think they're very glad about that, because I think the Democrats that have any sense left to them have seen this shitstorm tornado that they're caught up in.
Here we go.
And they're saying we got to get off this crazy train.
Yeah.
And
right. I want to do the next one. Hurry up.
It's going to take a long time to redevelop any trust.
Yep.
So what does that mean, Dems or GG?
I don't know what GG means, but let me read
Unlimited liquid. Let us know what you mean.
Kash Patel, and I was hanging out with Kash Patel last Saturday. I have pictures of me with Byron Donalds. There was Kash Patel was there, but he ran on the bus after the event. I wanted to shake his hand, but I was like 3 feet from him. Listen, he gave a great speech, though, guys, for Trump. But I was there. Leo 2.0, Leo Terrell, awesome guy. Peter Navarro, he was there. McClintock, who's going to be our AG. He was the acting AG at the end of the Trump administration. He's great, too. He's not going to screw around. There were a lot of people who were there. All right. Kash Patel announces massive declassification will occur. He's going to be CIA under Trump's administration, from Epstein files to Diddy list and more. Now we're getting people's attention. In a recent interview, former Trump administration official Kash Patel, let me tell you something. I was never bored with any segment on news with Kash Patel. He's always got something cool to talk about. Announced that under President Donald Trump's second administration, Americans should brace for unprecedented government transparency, which means what? Which means the Biden administration's probably in a shredding mode right now. Patel stated that massive declassification will be among their top priorities, aiming to release troves of information previously shielded from public view. In a recent interview with Benny Johnson, Patel revealed that massive declassification will occur in Trump's administration, including explosive revelations from the infamous Epstein files and the shadowy Diddy list. You can see all the Democrats right now fainting. Patel also hinted at releasing documents that implicate the Department of Justice and FBI in unlawful surveillance of over 250,000 Americans in a single year. Can you imagine this? Let's see if they got... Yeah,
you think this is my shocked face, okay?
Let me play this. So let's do this.
We still don't have all the list, all the FISAs, all of the stuff they did to 275,000 Americans illegally in 1 year. Put that out there. I'm not saying put in the recipe on how to do it. We can keep the hood on the engine, but we can show the American people how they violated our rights. And to me, what you said is the most important: restoring trust.
Yes,
in our agencies and departments. That the way to do that is not to get a piñata and just punch them mercilessly and hoping for some bubble gum to pop out. The way to do that is to literally give the American people the truth.
Exactly.
And that's what they feared about Donald Trump. He's going to come in there and maybe give him the Epstein list and maybe give him the P. Diddy list. You know, he's going to come up there and maybe do all these things, and they are terrified.
Yeah. They should.
Yeah, I believe that's part of the reason why Jimmy Kimmel was crying last night on his program. Yeah. But also, I believe that this is something that the American public desperately want, and most importantly, this is how you restore honor and how you restore trust. Now, many may not know, some will, that you are personally responsible for the research on the Russiagate collusion. Everything we know about Russiagate, and we know maybe like less than half of what really happened with Russiagate. Kash Patel is the one who found it out with Devin Nunes. So, Kash, you have an excellent pedigree in rooting out the truth Will we get the full Diddy list? Will we get Epstein? Will we get JFK? Will we get the rest of what happened with Russia collusion?
Don't know.
That's what I want. That's what I want as me as an American citizen. That's what I want in terms of achieving that restoration of respect for government in DC that's been gone for like 50, 60 years, right? I had said on the campaign trail when I was on the Team Trump bus tour or surrogate somewhere, I said, America has a chance to retire the dynastic families that have rained down corruption in Washington.
He actually said that
on November 5th. You could have retired the Bushes, the Cheneys, the Clintons, and the Obamas. And you know what, Benny? For the first time, I get to say they did. And part of that mandate that they delivered to Donald Trump is simply they want the truth.
Yes.
And I don't know why it has been, well, I do know why, but I believe and hope President Trump is going to go in there and just be a vehicle, a conveyor belt for the truth and just put it out nonstop. Yes. Agriculture department, education, labor, all of it, everywhere. And Congress is going to play such a critical role in these oversight investigations. Just think of what you can accomplish if you have a director or a secretary who actually works with the Republican chairman or chairwoman on oversight. It's incredible, not just for corruption revelation purposes, but to see how we actually budget and stop lighting your money on fire.
Exactly. It's going to be glorious.
I heard that after P. Diddy got scooped up, there's a whole bunch of entertainers that they can't find right now that have like left the country and such. You know what I think?
Was Anglo taking off?
I think.
Yeah, Anglo. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one.
Anglo-Saxon. See ya. Have a good one.
Good night, man.
You know what I think? I think all of the Hollywood types that said they would leave, they would move to Canada if Trump was elected. I think what we need to do is offer to pay their airfare there.
Oh yeah.
I think we need to. Hey, listen, get the fuck out of Dodge.
Well, I posted on my Facebook. I said. Where is it? I asked people. Yeah, I said, folks, please do not book any flights over the next couple of weeks because we need the seats for all the Hollywood celebrities that are leaving the U.S.
Yeah,
that's the truth.
The interesting thing, I wonder what Robert De Niro is going to do now. I mean, he's well, I mean, fuck him, of course, but he's old enough he could just retire. But he put all his eggs in the Kamala basket. And he's obviously got complete, disdain for Trump, called him everything. But now, is he concerned that if he makes a movie, nobody's going to see it? Personally, if I was him, I would just crawl away and retire. I would just.
Oh, me too.
If I was him, I would just go away.
Yeah. Let me put this up again. So my brother put this up. See those blue dots, those few blue dots? Those are the people who have forced discriminatory diversity, gender ideology, men and women's sports, that's pure misogyny, critical race theory, climate activism, and censorship down our throats, made our lives more expensive and complicated. And the red part, those people are done with it. That's the election map.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
That is the election map. Think about that.
No, it was definitive.
Yeah, there's no question.
I saw somebody on, it might have been CNN. Somebody came up the day after the election and they were just shaking their head. They accidentally committed journalism and he's shaking his head.
Journalism.
Yeah, like you say, random acts of journalism.
Yeah.
And so he's there and he's going, no, this, what the people said, this was not, sneaking in the back door of the White House. This was not maybe yes, maybe no. This was a definitive statement from the people of the United States.
Yeah.
A definitive mandate. This was not.
Oh yeah.
And
that will take us into our next story. Wait a minute. What do you got? Greatest political campaign of all time. Yeah, it was. It really was. That will take us into our next story. You ready?
Isn't President Trump the greatest troll ever, though?
He really is. I mean, he also has this uncanny ability to take anything that was to trash him and to own it. Like irredeemable deplorables, garbage. I mean, you think about it, all the shit. I mean, the shirts. I got shirts around here, and I'm voting for the convicted felon.
Yeah, and the day
Right?
after Joe
Shirt back
Biden made
here
his
says, you miss bitches with Trump giving the finger. I mean, he owns it all.
the day after Joe Biden did the garbage comment, there were T-shirts out there and a bunch of people wearing them. I'm voting.
Yeah.
I are proud to be garbage.
Oh, yeah. Proud to be guard. Here we go. This is Politico, guys. As Trump has humiliated his foes. See if I can increase it. Donald Trump didn't steal the 2024 election. He won it clearly and comprehensively. Democrats warned that Trump and his supporters are prepared to hijack democracy. Again, we don't live in a democracy. Now they must ruefully acknowledge another reality. The Trump movement, no matter how much this appalls opponents, is a powerful expression of democracy. I don't think so. Vice President Kamala Harris may have been an imperfect candidate. That's putting it mildly. The postmortems are vigorously underway on Wednesday morning, but she delivered the essential Democratic argument perfectly well. The Trump era was something to be scraped off the national shoe. Instead, there will be another helping placed on the national plate. His adversaries don't have to pretend to taste good, but for now, they need to eat it. It is not Harris alone who must reckon with the reality that Trump responded to the national mood more credibly for a larger share of Americans than she did, because she's an idiot. I mean, she could not communicate. For now, he is on track to win the popular vote. He already did, as well as a solid electoral college victory. Trump is anathema to a solid majority of college graduates, including a large numbers of conservatives and traditional Republicans, meaning rhinos. These voters send their children to campuses where Trump revulsion is an article of faith. The news media broadly concluded that the gravity of Trump's threat to American norms. See, Trump's bringing back American norms, including the fact that he is a convicted felon, of lawfare. That he'll win in the Supreme Court meant doing away with weasel words like misled, and instead flatly called him a liar and a would-be despot. These people just have no idea what they're talking about. Tuesday night gave an answer to how much the politics of denunciation would dilute Trump's support, and it posed a new question to his opponents. Now what? I think that's why you're hearing silence. 2024 surely must persuade the last doubters of something that was evident to Trump partisans from the moment he first sent his presidential ambitions aloft in 2015. He is not simply a celebrity candidate, but the leader of a political movement. They're finally catching on, aren't they? The distinction is important. Conventional politicians can see their careers wilt in a moment before controversies and setbacks. Movement leaders, rare figures in American history, draw their energy from deep well springs of cultural identity. He is a blue dog billionaire. He knows the people, grievance and aspiration. Like a hurricane over tropical waters, they actually grow stronger from controversies and setbacks. It's true. It's true. You see that with him. Let's illustrate the difference in typologies right here. Trump lost the 2012, had it stolen from him, and was impeached for interfering with the peaceful transfer of power bullshit, and all along never lost his grip on the Republican Party because everybody knows it's bullshit. Harris is now awaiting only the right moment to publicly acknowledge that she has lost the 2024 election. She did it yesterday, and it was the most bizarre, dark concession I ever heard. At the moment, it looks likely she will not win any of the 7 main swing states. How many of the Democrats who embraced her 48 hours ago will be ready to back her if she decides to run again in 2028? She ain't running again. Almost certainly she is gone. A one and done proposition. Exactly. She ain't running.
Absolutely. There is not, I don't think there's a Democrat in this country that wants her.
Oh, no.
For 2028.
There were
so
few.
You know what's interesting? It just occurred to me. Trump is the only guy who has won 3 presidential elections. Think about it. But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean. So what's wrong? I want to know what's wrong with me though. I'm a college graduate. I'm a woman. I'm a suburban woman. I'm an immigrant. What's wrong with me?
You didn't vote for them.
Yeah, no, but I mean, why wouldn't I vote? Like they're talking about, college graduates are overwhelmingly Democrat. I'm a college graduate. I'm a suburban woman. I'm an immigrant. How come I'm not Democrat? Well, because
You have a brain, and
I got neurons working.
yeah, well, a lot of the legal immigrants that come in. I mean, I know the shit you guys got to go through in order to become a citizen, and you have to know a lot of the history of the United States, and it's like you guys come in and you're exactly what we want. I mean, I don't give a damn where you come from in this world. You come in legally, open arms. That's the way it is. But when you come in illegally and you expect a check, no.
It used to be that immigrants would come here, and I guess I can include myself in this. Immigrants would come here because they want to be here and be so grateful once they got their green card and then the citizenship. They'd be more fucking American than Americans. And
well, and that's another thing that they lie about on the left. They say, well, statistics say that immigrants are they commit less crime than American citizens. Bullshit. They always conflate illegals with legals.
Yeah.
It's true that legal immigrants commit very low amount of crime, probably less than American criminals. But illegals are like 10 times worse. 10 times worse. Because in their country...
Yeah, like in New York City,
yeah,
like 80% of the people they arrest for crimes these days are illegal immigrants.
Oh, yeah. Yes, Louis got
I remember
it right.
I remember seeing that.
We don't see that anymore. They used to say to you, like they would ask questions when you tried to come in. They'd say, okay, so you have a way to support yourself? You have a place to live? Do you have family, friends, or whatever going to put you up until you get a job? Do you have money? No? Hit the road, Jack.
Well,
don't you come back no more.
I had to go through that. I couldn't just like walk in through the back door.
Oh, I know.
came down. I had a job lined up. That hospital sponsored me and said, yes, we've been, the hospital had to even state that, they'd been looking for somebody to fill this position for some time. And then once that was all set and I had to do all this dealings with the immigration lawyer, and then finally we got in. It took months. And then, and then we got the green card, and that was pretty quick. And then it was kind of funny. We were here, I can't remember how long. I guess it was about, I think it was 5 years. I think you have to be here 5 years before you apply for citizenship.
Really?
So we applied, and we got everything in the works. Interestingly, once you apply for the citizenship, you can't leave the country. Like I couldn't go home to visit people in Canada. Yeah, you can't do it.
That?
So we're waiting.
Papers, please. Okay. Could they see your papers, please?
I have no idea. But so we're waiting, and we know the immigration process takes like 18 months to get your citizenship.
Yeah.
So we're waiting, then we get a call. We got to go in for an interview. This is like 4 or 5 months down. Okay, like 4 months in. And we said, oh, okay, they must want to ask us some more questions. So we go there and we sit down, and somebody calls Jim's name. So we both get up, and he said, no, just him. What's going on?
Are they asking the marriage test? That
No. What's going on? And they said, well, this is your interview. No, this is your citizenship interview. What do you mean? This is, where we do the civics test. And I said, this is it. Yeah. And suddenly we're just going, holy crap. Because most people study their ass off for the civics test.
Yeah.
So, short story, we both passed. They take you in, they ask you a couple of questions, then they ask you 10 civics questions. And I got them all right, and so did Jim. And I distinctly remember the only one I had trouble with was, which was the last state admitted to the Union? Okay, so I think most people right off the bat, they know it's Alaska or Hawaii. Okay, Do you know which one it was?
No, I don't.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. That's a trick because everybody thinks, okay, we know Alaska came in the 1950s, and then we know that Pearl Harbor was bombed in 1941. So no, Pearl Harbor was a territory at that time.
Yeah.
Alaska came in, I don't know, mid 50s. And
well, the military got them both in.
Hawaii came in, I think, a year or two after that. I got the question right. So we walked out of there, and it's like, oh, we're done. And then they sent us an appointment for an interview. We collected with like a couple of hundred other people on the steps of the Capitol, and there was a judge looking very much like the Pope at the front of it. and he did, your basic mass marriage ceremony, and thank you very much. And after that, we walked up to tables, and they took our green cards.
Yeah.
And they handed us an envelope with a lovely letter from W.
Got your bubble up.
And it was a lovely letter, and a certificate, and it was like, wow, it's done.
Very cool.
So no, Alaska was first. Hawaii came in a year or two later. I can pull up the dates, but
do you know how they got both of them to become states to because you have to vote. The people there had to vote. You know how they did it? They shoved a shit ton of military personnel in those states, in those territories, and then they had the right to vote.
Well,
that's how they
I
did
know. Well, I mean, they bought Alaska from the Russians.
From the Russians, yeah.
But I know in Hawaii what they did. You can thank the fruit companies for Hawaii because they were protecting their interests, and the lobbyists went to Congress and said, we need to protect our interest here. The Hawaiians are getting out of control. The natives are misbehaving. So big military presence. Before you know it, there's a bunch of Marines walking up to the palace and offering Queen Kamehameha some free transport.
Oh, wow.
And that's how we ended up with Hawaii. It was a military coup. It was a military takeover.
Yep.
And then they were a territory, and then they voted into statehood. But it was a year or two. It was late 50s, I want to say, somewhere like 1956 to 59. But Alaska was first. Hawaii was a year or two later.
I want to do this. This is funny. For our British friends here, this is just a joke. Here we go. Ready?
Whether you can dunk your bread in your soup, and the answer to that is no, you can't, Judah.
Well, I must inform you that we have already fought for our independence from your country. Therefore, we do not have to follow your principles any longer, or your accent. And for that reason, I want to let you know that in America, fam, we took it a step further. Because not only would we dip the bread in the soup, fam, we turned the bowl in the bread. Put the soup in the bread bowl and then dipped other items into the bread bowl soup. And then when we get done with it, guess what we do? Eat the bowl. God bless America.
I love that.
Yeah, I love French onion soup in a bread bowl.
Yeah. I've never had a bread bowl. Let me see.
Panera.
Another one out there.
Go to Panera. They do it. I mean, it's it's a chain, but they do one.
Yeah, I
Go
can't
to
eat
Panera Bread. Get their French onion soup in a bread bowl. It's good.
Remember I was talking about Deep State Mike? Here's the story. This is great. So Deep State Mike is hacking his way back into the Trump administration. Guess what? He's not. Well, folks, after Trump's historic and powerful victory, the bad guys are crawling out of the woodwork, trying to weasel their way back into his administration. Part of it is ego, self-preservation, and an undying thirst for power. But the bigger piece of the puzzle is that these deep state puppets are doing everything they can to infiltrate Trump's team again with hopes to disrupt his America First agenda exactly from the inside. One of those players is Mike Pompeo. I never liked him. The warmongering neocon deep state snake who wants a spot in Trump. This guy, like, don't Don't sugarcoat it, dude. Tell us how you really feel. Who wants a spot in Trump's cabinet and thinks we've all forgotten his traitorous ways? Who wrote it? Oh, it doesn't tell us right away. All right. We haven't, Mike. Let's see.
What Donald Trump is facing, and is it right to charge him?
Listen to this.
Brian, good morning. Great to be with you. Two things I think are both true at this point. First, if the allegations are true, and there's lots of indications that they are, President Trump had classified documents where he shouldn't have had them. And then when given the opportunity.
Guys, he was the CIA director, and then he was the Secretary of State. He knows that that was bullshit. He knows that a president has the right to have the classified documents.
Return them. He chose not to do that for whatever reason.
And he did not choose not to return them. His lawyers were talking with the National Archives. Everything about this guy is a lie.
Brian, you talked about me having classified documents. I handled thousands and thousands of them over my time in Congress and then as a CIA director and Secretary of State. I suppose we can all make mistakes and get them to the wrong place, but when somebody identifies that, you got to turn.
No, he didn't have the right to have them outside of government purview. All right, that's the Espionage Act. The president does. He's a scumbag. I never liked him.
Quick quiz: who is the one person in government that is permitted to declassify items?
The president.
Exactly.
There were two court cases on that. The first was U.S. Department of Navy versus Egan. How do I remember that? I don't know, but I do. And what that basically said was that the president of the United States has the ultimate authority in classifying and declassifying at will, and he does not have to get permission from anyone for anything. Then there was another case. It was Judicial Watch versus, who the hell was? Judicial Watch versus National Archives and Records Administration. How I remember that one, I don't know either, but I do. And what that was Tom Fitton learned, get this, Tom Fitton learned that Bill Clinton had audio tapes that no one knew about. They were being taped in the Oval Office, or should we call it the Oral Office. And he kept them in a sock drawer in his house with Hillary, right, in New York. He kept it in a sock drawer. And Tom Fitton thought, well, I think America should have the right to hear what's on those tapes. And the judge, who was an Obama appointee, made the right call, I thought. And she said, well, actually, no, because the president of the United States has the ultimate authority to determine what is presidential records and also supersedes that of the National Archives and Records Administration. Okay? So why didn't they think the same way about Trump? Trump wrote, I used to push this on here, and I used to write about it all the time. Trump wrote a presidential memorandum where he talked about how he declassified everything that was at Mar-a-Lago. He declassified all of it. All of it. The whole bullshit that they did only happened because he came out and said he's going to run. What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
We lost Jeremiah, I think.
Did he take off?
He says he's
about to die. All right, man. Sorry, Jeremiah. I didn't even see that.
And if you're still on,
man.
thanks for the. If you're still on, thanks for the dates for the statehood. It wasn't quite a year between them. I thought it was like a year. It wasn't quite a year.
Let's see. Yeah, he's not getting in again.
Well, I think there's a few people that are, let's just say, looking to be unemployed. I think Flynn. I think Miley. He's got
no. Mike Flynn. I think he's going to bring him in as DNI.
Okay, am I thinking the wrong one?
Yeah. Mike Flynn is a good guy. I mean, he was the one. He got
screwed
by Obama.
Okay, I'm thinking of somebody different. But General Miley, he's got to go.
Oh yeah,
he's got to go.
Well, like I said, Trump's not going to listen to Jared Kushner anymore for personnel decisions.
You know who we haven't heard of? You know who we haven't heard from is Pence.
Yeah, well, Pence ran his mouth like a couple weeks ago, and that was it.
Yeah, but we haven't heard much from him at all.
And I'm happy and thankful for that.
Thankful I am. And, we've heard nothing from him since the election. And, I think
JD is going to be 10 times better than him.
Yeah, I think JD is going to be a killer. And I think, here's something to think about. I think Trump gets a lot of this shit straightened out. And then on his 80th birthday, he goes and says, I'm 80. Don't know that anybody who's 80 should hold this job, but that's besides the point. I got lot to pay. I got a lot of golf to play.
Yeah.
I've got my faithful companion here, JD, and I'm going to, and in the meantime, he's got to groom him for this, and then put him in for a year or two, and then in 2028, JD goes in knowing all the secrets, knowing all the people.
He can mentor him the whole way. He doesn't have to leave.
Yeah, he needs to
mentor him
No,
the
I'm
whole
just
way.
thinking he turns 80 and he says, I'm 80 now. I got golf to play. I'm still in good health. I want to do this kind of like me retiring. I want to do that while I'm in good health. And
Wow, you look pretty good for 80.
Well, I'm not 80. He's
I
80.
know.
You give me. Oh, come on. Now I hate you.
I said you look pretty good.
Now I
didn't
hate
say
you.
look. Let me do this one. Ready?
2 weeks from today, Rich.
You're done?
2 weeks from today,
Retired?
Rich, and all my friends, all my online friends here.
Wow.
That's it. That's it. That's called short timer.
Yeah, Pence won't run his mouth, or else me and my boys are going to get 2x4. Let me read this one. Ready, guys? Well. Hamas calls for immediate end to war after Trump wins election.
Yeah.
Senior Hamas official has called for an immediate end of Israel's war. You know why? Because Trump's going to support Israel, unlike the pieces of garbage that are in there now, against the group in the Gaza Strip, and a plan to achieve Palestinian statehood, in remarks shared with Newsweek in the wake of former President Donald Trump's election victory. The election of Trump as the 47th president of the USA is a private matter for the Americans, Hamas Political Bureau member and spokesman Bassem Naim told Newsweek. But Palestinians, which don't exist, Palestinians look forward to an immediate cessation of the aggression against our people. No, oh my God. The aggression against our people by the Jews that we fire rockets at every single day for the last 30 years, especially in Gaza, and look for assistance in achieving their legitimate rights of freedom, independence, and the establishment of their independent self-sovereign state with Jerusalem and its capital. The blind support for the Zionist entity Israel and its fascist government, yeah, it's a fascist government, at the expense of the future of our people and the security and stability of the region must stop immediately. Yeah, stop firing rockets on them and they'll let you alone. Trust me.
I think it's interesting. The language that they use is obviously,
it's unreal,
hyperbolic, over the top. But of course, the fact that they're suing for peace has nothing to do with Mr. Trump becoming the 47th.
Right. It has nothing to do with nothing. I think they're trying to call for like a ceasefire so that they can catch Israel with its pants down again and pull another October 7. I just don't trust them at all.
It's never going to stop. I don't know what the solution is going to be, but there has to be a good, solid solution put in place.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Because
ends this crap.
Well, they had a Palestinian state. It was called Transjordan.
But
that was the Palestinian state. You know what it is too? Nobody wants the Palestinians. I have a video.
Egypt closed the border.
From the King of Jordan. Yeah, I have a video from the King of Jordan who said, what did he say? No refugee status for Palestinians. And he went on to say that basically they're all a piece of crap. Because what happened was Jordan had once let in like 400,000 of them. And they immediately created a plot to assassinate the king. And then they took off and they were banned. They were banished. They were all kicked out. And they went over to Lebanon and they started the Lebanese civil war. These fucking people, they all they do is they're troublemakers, no matter where they go. So now nobody over there wants to absorb them. Imagine that. So they go, oh, well, fuck it. If we can't suck off the teat of another country over here, we might as well demand our own.
Yeah.
And they had it for a while. They had Gaza. But they screwed that up, too, because their government that they elected, Hamas, a terrorist group, they cared more about killing Jews than providing for their own people. We went through all that, the water, the electricity provided by Israel for free. Oh, my God. Just craziness.
They would destroy their own children to kill a Jew.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. It's crazy. I mean, hold on. What's this? Does anybody think Trump will pardon Edward Snowden this time? I don't know. I would sincerely hope so, because Russian food is not all that good from what I understand, and I think he wants to come home. Seriously.
Talk about Russian food not being so good. The reports from Russia, they got a bunch of North Korean troops up there.
Yeah.
The North Korean troops think it's great.
Well, of course, because they're starving. Well, the troops are the only ones that get. They're the only ones that get anything.
Yeah. So I mean, they're getting meals. In the meantime, the Kim is telling them to eat grass. It's like,
yeah. Oh, that's funny. Here you go. Watch this. This is great. Remember Michael Cohen, the lawyer?
Yeah. Where do I remember him from?
Well, Trump's lawyer, and he went to prison himself. He's the one. He's the one. Look, a lot of people don't know this, but the story is that Cohen was having an affair with Stormy Daniels as of 2006 onward.
Oh, that's right.
And that he came up with the idea for her to extort Trump for the money. Like, he's the one that came up with the idea because he was like a fixer lawyer who would handle things.
That's right. They called him the fixer, actually.
The creator of the Silk
That's
Road.
right. Now I remember
about that. Yeah. But anyway, check this out. So people had a field day. He was on. I don't know how they did it, but this is real. They really did this shit to him. Ready? Watch this.
No problem. Wow, genius you are. Can we stop with that? I appreciate it. I don't like the stupid turkeys. All right, let's just knock that stupid shit off, please.
Snapchat.
All right,
messing with him.
I did. I said I was leaving, and then the following day, get that through your dumb heads. The following day, I turned around and I said that there's no chance in the world that I'm leaving my country. Thank you very much.
Because he said he was going to leave if he got
all right. I'm not leaving anyway. You leave. This is my country.
Yeah, but they're not the ones that said they would leave if Trump got elected, you schmuck. Look at this.
And I have every right, every single right within which to turn around when we stop so we can. All right, 2 seconds. I'm going to end up blocking this idiot.
Oh, you got to love it, man.
Yeah, I mean,
Make
he's
an
trying to
ass out
say
of him
something.
at
Who
one
was doing the artistry there? I mean,
he was probably on Snapchat because I don't know of any other. I don't know of any other.
I don't know how
to do that.
I don't hang out on social media, so I have no idea how to do any of that.
I only post stories and videos to social media. I go on X a lot now, though. I'll admit I stepped it up a bit just to make fun of the libnuts.
I don't have an X account.
I have fun.
Never had an X or Twitter account. Never had a Facebook account.
Really?
Never. None of it.
Wow. Let's see. Pompeo, the issue, the true. Yeah, here you go. Here's one. The Pennsylvania Amish. They were careful among the English. So, ready? It's the issue that drove the Amish to the polls in Pennsylvania. The Amish are not a politically engaged community, but the 2024 election was different. There was one issue that prompted the Pennsylvania residents to register to vote in unprecedented numbers: milk. Earlier this year, there was a federal raid on a raw milk farm, bird in hand, that angered. I have a personal story about another Amish farm, bird in hand, that angered the community over the government's heavy-handed response following reports of illness from consumers. Quote, the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture stormed Amos Miller's farm January 4 after reports of illnesses in children linked to raw dairy products purchased there, according to the local media outlet Lancaster Farming. The Amish community saw the move as an overzealous reach by the government and was planning to vote for GOP presidential candidate Donald Trump, whose party favors less government intervention. There you go. Ready? Normal values, even hits the Amish. That was the impetus for them to say, we need to participate. The source said of local Amish voters. This is about neighbors helping neighbors. Exactly. The Amish community rallied around Miller, who cited his religious beliefs as a reason for not adhering to food and drug guidelines. We go to a place called Pasture to Fork. It's like an hour and a half away, but it's so worth it, right? And they're Amish. And We go in there, and Samuel is the owner. He and his wife run it. And they got like 9 kids, and they all walk around with the overalls, with the, you know, they look they look cute as hell, right? But they're all dressed in Amish gear. And he has a blog. The guy keeps a blog, and he talks about how, because of his religion, he can't do USDA for the meat and all that. He can't do it because and I said, well, why not? And he goes, because we don't torture our animals. He said that the USDA, the way they have things is you have to torture your animals, and we don't do that. And he says, we have the healthiest meat around, and they do, right? And I said, so you get a problem with like the feds? And he said, yeah, they come in every now and then. He goes, so far they haven't hit us hard. He goes, he said, they haven't hit us hard. He goes, because I think they realized that they would lose. They would lose because he said, we've never had someone sick. And he writes on his blog, like, how to use the meats, because they just don't go through USDA. USDA, I believe it ruins the food to a certain degree as compared to if you don't go through their procedures. It's like pasteurization of milk. It takes everything that's wholesome out of it. And they do raw milk there as well. And then
if the government has a concern, and there needs to be ways to monitor these things, but rather than send 8 agents into a guy's house searching for a squirrel and other things, rather than that, what you need to do is put out education. So if you think that raw milk is not good, you need to tell people this is why, and this is what we think. And then people make their own choice.
Yeah.
It's kind of like vaccines, the government should not be mandating quite as much as it does. Yeah. And I think if RFK has something to say about it, and I do believe he will, because I think Trump is going to put him in charge of something to do with health anyway. There won't be so many mandates. There'll be recommendations perhaps, but
yeah.
When I was a kid, you got a few vaccines. Now, and I've been out of pediatrics.
Over 50 now, the kids are getting?
I've been out of pediatrics now for,
For those watching, she's a medical
years.
Doctor.
What was that?
I said, for those watching for the first time, Jade is Dr. Jade. She's a medical doctor. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I've been out of pediatrics. I mean, I was never a pediatric specialist, but any experience with pediatrics for quite a while. 20 years, let's see, 25 years anyway that I could think of, and suddenly I turn around and kids are receiving a long list of vaccines that it's amazing. Yeah. And you got to wonder, okay, let's put the brakes on this. Let's not why are we giving why are we giving all of these to fragile
liberalism?
Yeah. And we've got some established vaccines that are probably good, the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella.
Special K.
But
good to see you, man.
Nice. But here's just something to think about it along those lines. And I'm not really an anti-vaxxer, although there's no way anybody could convince me to get the COVID vaccine. That's another conversation. But regular vaccines we've been getting for a long time, the MMR, measles, mumps, rubella.
Right.
Here's my thing. When I was a kid, my cousins got something. My mother would take me over to play with them. So I had chicken pox. I had measles.
Yeah.
And that's how you dealt with it. And we know for a fact that having the disease is more protective than the immunization. Yeah. So here's my question.
Natural immunity.
Yeah, natural immunity is much stronger. So here's my question. I agree. That's another story, but I agree. So now you've got these kids that grew up getting the MMR. Are we all of a sudden, because don't forget, we are just now seeing the long-term 30 and 40-year results of these. We are just now seeing that. And so what's going to happen? Are we suddenly going to be seeing, a rash of people who are, in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, the immunizations wear off, and suddenly we've got epidemics of measles in elderly people who are less able to fight it off?
Yep.
And I mean, it's at this point, it's just a
Well,
question.
plus, you bring
I don't
illegals
know.
in from countries all over the world that still have these diseases, and you don't vet them.
The other half of it is, the other consideration is, and I've seen this in my training. I saw this, a 12-year-old girl who contracted measles, had a measles encephalitis. She was a bright 12-year-old student, and when I saw her, she was functioning at the level of a 3 or 4-year-old. So you don't need to see too many of them to understand why people want to not have that happen.
Right.
But, most of us can agree that we don't know everything about everything, but what's going to happen? Now, if we do have some recurrence in elderly people of measles, mumps, rubella, the question, well, maybe it just means we need to get a booster in our 50s. I don't know. We are just now seeing, like I said, the 30-year results on these, the long-term results. So we just don't know.
Yeah. Let me read this one. I think you guys will like this one. Ready? Bye-bye, Barack. Maybe former President Obama got the message when he spoke to African Americans in Philadelphia. The thrill is gone. The racialist policies just don't work anymore. That's right, because of this normie realignment that I'm talking about all the time now. There's a realignment that they don't do it by color of skin like the left always did, even though they claim we're the racists, but they always did that. They put people into buckets, right? This is common values are what you're going to hang out with now. That's who the groups are going to be, common American values, which everybody who's decent has, all right? The thrill is gone. The racialist policy. People are tired of hearing sermons from former presidents with mansions and first ladies who sent their kids to expensive private schools, even first ladies with a pair of balls. We saw on election day the end of Obama as a candidate. Exactly, because he ran the Biden regime. His emerging majority did not emerge, as David Weigel pointed out. Quote, Republicans ended election night confident that they would win the presidency, flip the Senate, and perhaps narrowly hold the House of Representatives. In Mar-a-Lago, Donald Trump's most famous supporters were talking about winning the popular vote, a mandate that MAGA couldn't grab in 2 prior presidential campaigns. Well, one of them, you had like 13 million phony ballots for Biden. The apparent result means the defeat of a strategy that nearly all Democrats embraced after the 2016 election, delivering populist labor, tax, and healthcare policies that they thought could win back Obama-Trump voters and stop any more losses with non-white voters. That was not enough for swing voters who never stopped crediting Trump with pre-COVID economic growth while absolving him for his handling of the pandemic. Personally, guys, did you ever read the list of things that Trump did during the pandemic? It was quite impressive. And yet they still, even conservatives here, say, his handling of the pandemic. And that angst cut across racial lines, along with anger at progressive crime and immigration policies that Vice President Kamala Harris abandoned before running. To be fair, maybe no one could have saved the Democrats from the failure of the Biden presidency. It's because they caused it all themselves. Maybe it was too much to expect that a former president would save a candidate trying to defend a candidate who couldn't answer a complex situation. It's true. Nevertheless, the Democrats need to look for new faces and different speakers at their next convention. What they need is to look themselves in the mirror and say, God damn, how did we expect people to have to vote for us? They need to realize that they got to come back to the American people. They left the American. Think about it, guys. If you look at the map, they're a coastal party right now. They're not a country party. They're coastal. The elites are on the left and right of the country, with a little bit of smatterings here and there in the middle. But I mean, you saw the map earlier we showed. It was all red. They're just on the coast now.
And they're in Colorado. And the fact that we have universal mail-in balloting is completely a coincidence.
Right. So they say the Obama coalition, based on identity politics. That's what I said in my video yesterday. That all these people from all walk, black, white, Asian, you name it, they are all saying we're sick and tired of the identity politics. It's bullshit. And you know why? Because what did it gain for anyone? Right? The Democrats thought, okay, so we want the black vote, so we're going to do identity politics for them, and they're going to think we give a shit about them. Really? You know how Trump gave a shit about them? He lowered their unemployment rate to the lowest in history. That's how he gave a shit about them. And he said that in 2016. He said, I think black voters are going to love me because I'm going to lower the unemployment rate and they're going to get jobs. And the left all went nuts, you know, and all the cable news programs saying, oh, that's racist. How the frick is it racist to say black people are going to love me because I'm going to give them bigger wallets? And he did. He absolutely did.
But saying that they can't do anything for themselves and we have to give them handouts.
Yeah.
That's not racist.
Yeah, and you're such a moron, you don't know how to get ID to vote. The Obama coalition, based on identity politics, green energy, and taxing the rich, is history. Because it's all bullshit. I have a feeling that Governor Josh Shapiro is not going to ask the Obamas or Clintons to speak on his behalf the next time around. Exactly. Let's see. The first guy, Guy Jones.
You know, the arrogance, you can remember when Hillary stood up and angrily said, well, why aren't I 50 points ahead?
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
That's how they think.
I know. You know, Rush Limbaugh used to say that. He used to say, you know, when the Democrats lost power, they would act like they'd say, well, you know what? Okay, we know that you made a mistake. And you know what? We're going to be magnanimous about it because when you put us back in power, we're going to forget that. That's how they think. Here, check this out. The first guy that wrote, he writes a comment. He writes, good riddance to that insufferably vile, narcissistic, arrogant, incompetent, self-enriching, hypocritical, stupid, and evil hustler. Don't sugarcoat it.
Okay, I can think of a dozen that
demagogue and racial arsonist Obama. He did. He took race relations back 50 years. He and his minions have done incalculable damage to the U.S. and the free world and have the blood of innocents on their hands worldwide. Now, if you'll please excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom and take a massive Obama. Then I must clean up the stinking pile of Obama that my neighbor's dog left on my lawn. Wow.
That's bad.
Wow. Wow, he told it like it was, man.
Yeah, well,
and it's true.
I saw a meme the other day, and it started with Obama, and he's thinking like this. He's thinking, I need to choose a vice president who's dumber than me.
Yeah.
And then the next frame is Biden. I need to choose a president that's dumber than me. And the next frame is Harris. I need to choose a vice president that's dumber than me. And I mean,
she did.
Well,
that's
we could debate that. If it wasn't true, it wouldn't be funny.
Yeah, I know. Bathhouse Barry. Wow, you know about that, huh?
What's that?
He said Bathhouse Barry.
Oh, yeah.
It was Rom Deadfish Emanuel. You know who Rom Deadfish was, right?
Oh, he was
chief of staff. He was Obama's chief of staff, and then he
left.
He
went to be mayor of Chicago.
He went mayor of Chicago and fucked that city up even worse. But
yeah,
they call him Deadfish.
He was the one that ignored a bunch of congressional subpoenas.
Right. They call him Deadfish because every time he ran in an election, and when he won, he mailed a dead fish to his opponent. No lie. That's pretty sick when you think about it.
Yeah, that's
he mailed a dead fish to them.
That's twisted.
Yeah, I remember the time when he was at a banquet. This is no lie. He was at he was the chief of staff.
Who, Emanuel?
For the White House, right? He was chief of staff for the President Obama, right? Well, he's at this banquet, and it was like right after they got elected. And there were a bunch of Democrats who were there who did not support Obama during the race. They supported Hillary. All right. He took a steak knife. He was the guy up front, like all the tables going. He's the guy that was at the head table, right? And he's up there, and he literally had the list, and he said their name, like, you know, I'll just say Hillary Clinton. He slammed the knife into the wooden table and screamed, "Dead!" He literally did that, and he went down like 16 or 17 politicians. Bam, dead. Like, it was unbelievable. Smoked salmon, yeah. It was unbelievable. He did that. I couldn't believe he did it, but he did. And the only way we know that is because Rush Limbaugh played it on his TV show when he had a TV show. Unreal. Let's see. Did you guys know that the German government collapsed? Did you hear about that?
No, I didn't. What happened?
Well, we're going to find out in a second. There you go. They wrote this yesterday. The German government collapsed yesterday. As a short explanation of the situation and what it means for the AfD and remigration. Okay. The government consisted of the Socialist SPD, whatever that is, the Greens, and the Liberal Party. The FDP was kicked out, left. The coalition was unpopular. Let's get down to, oh, wow, it's all social media crap. I thought that we would get a story. I shouldn't have pulled this, but hey, what the hell? So he says, everyone was on pins and needles and just waiting to blow up the whole thing in the best situation. What? The tension escalated over a new economy proposition of the FDP. Their ministers were kicked out. Chancellor Scholz wants to dissolve the government in January, elections in March. Yeah, they're like throwing everybody out over there. I think, here it is. What will a new election bring? The conservative union. Will 99% be in the government like Macron, the FN? They block the AfD. Yeah, they do all kinds of crazy shit over there. Currently, it looks like the big coalition, socialists plus conservatives. It can't be the real name. And if needed, the Greens or liberals as third wheel, the AfD will be kept out. Yeah, apparently there's a lot of crap going on, and I think it has to do with the migration that was started by, you guessed it, Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. You remember when there was they had their summer, what was it? The Arab Spring, they called it, when it wasn't an Arab Spring at all. Remember when they called it the Arab Spring, and and they were trying, it was when the Egyptian leader was thrown out, abdicated, and they put in the new guy. Well, the Egyptian leader was thrown out because he was a dictator, but he was a dictator because he had so many people that wouldn't listen to him and kept trying to attack Israel. But Israel had told them, Israel told Egypt's government, they said, look, you guys attacked us twice unprovoked. So if you do it one more time, we're going to blow up both of your dams. Do you believe us? And the guy went, Mubarak said, yes, I do. I do. I do believe that. So he was trying to keep Egypt from being flooded, if you will. Right. And so he had to be a dictator to stop all these a-holes that were trying to attack Israel.
Let me read this. It's a CNN article on the government. Germany's governing coalition has collapsed after disagreements over the country's weak economy led Chancellor Olaf Scholz to sack his finance minister.
Yep.
Christian Lindner's dismissal prompted him to withdraw his Free Democrats Party, FDP, from a coalition with Scholz's Social Democratic Party, SPD, leaving Scholz in a minority government with the Green Party. Scholz said he would now call a confidence vote for January 15th, which, if he lost, could allow elections to be held by the end of March next year, 6 months earlier than the elections planned for September 2025. It goes on, but I think that's the essence of it.
Yeah. I got another well story, if I may. Are you done?
Yeah. I mean, I can keep reading, but I think that's the essence of it.
Yeah, that's the essence. Here you go. Another well. New York City Mayor Eric Adams to stop giving migrants free prepaid cards worth $18,500 a year to migrants over backlash to multi-million scheme. New York City is ending its controversial scheme that gave migrant families prepaid debit cards worth $18,500 each that the American New Yorkers are paying for. Holy shite. City Hall made the announcement Thursday as Mayor Eric Adams has finally listened to critics of the Big Apple's migrant policies, and Adams himself has become friendlier with Donald Trump. Well, who plans massive reforms to the immigration system. You see?
You
The
think
guy
Eric
that they
Ad-
called the racist, now he's now helping New York.
You think Eric Adams has a little bit of a bone to pick with the Democrats who
You're damn right, because they went after him.
Went after him with lawfare?
Yeah. Because he trash talked. Look, the guy's running a city, okay? It's corrupt as hell, yeah, but the biggest mistake they made, guys, was they dumped all those tens of thousands of illegals into blue cities that were sanctuary cities. All right? Because it ate up all their resources, and the people, especially in Chicago, the people there are like, wait a minute, we're the ones that pay the taxes for all these resources, and you guys are sucking them up for the illegals because you want the votes. It was actually the power that we talked about earlier. William Fowler, a spokesperson for City Hall, says the program will expire at the end of the year after handing out a total of $3.2 million in cash value for 2,600 families to buy necessities. Yeah, buy them a freaking bus ticket. The debit cards could only be used at supermarkets and bodegas, or bodegas, as some people in New York like to say. Adams said when it began, a family of 4 with 2 children could receive up to $350 per week. Because why go out for a job when the Democrats will take your tax dollars? Depending on the children's ages, the program became more inconvenient after Brad Lander, the city's comptroller, stripped Adams of his power to make emergency deals with companies like MoCafe, who were given $400,000 in a no-bid contract to run the program. Yep.
Gotta love those no bid contracts.
I know. Quote, we will continue to implement and learn from innovative pilot programs like the Immediate Response Cards program as we care for hundreds of new arrivals every week. You got to think about it. First of all, they have these dumbass names for all their programs, but why would they need programs if they just did things the way that they're supposed to be done? Don't allow illegals. They should have had a pair of balls and said, hey, Joe, get your freaking illegals out because we're going to boot them out. We have, what do they have? 16,000 police officers in New York City. We're going to boot them out. We have an army. We're getting them out. You have no right shoving them here. But no, he had to go along with it because it was the Democrats and they never do wrong, right?
Yeah, but now he's kind of sliding a little bit more towards Trump.
Yeah, because they raided his home and they charged him with crimes that he didn't commit. Guys, we dodged.
The Dems, they do everything like they're going to, like they're going to forever be in power. They do all this shit.
I know that because they think that they are. They always think they're going to remain in power forever.
I can only hope that this smacking around is going to cause some soul searching in the Democrats.
Oh,
I have no great hope that it will, but this is bad enough. Somebody's got to stand up and say, yeah, if we actually want to physically exist after 2028, we need to change our program, which is why I said earlier, I have no idea what's going to happen. If you told me that the Democrats would be pro-gun in 2028, I'd believe you because I have no idea where they're going to go. And it's just they things are just weird. Things are just weird. There's this.
It's a lull.
Spooky
before
calm.
the storm.
There's this spooky calm over the country, and like Jim said, well, he hasn't been. He's not sitting in the office yet. He hasn't taken the oath of office. So,
How you doing? How you doing? Good to see you.
We still have to wait till January 20th. He hasn't been inaugurated yet, so God knows what's going to happen between then and now and then.
Well,
I think if it was me, I think I would be in Mar-a-Lago. I'd give some virtual press conferences from Mar-a-Lago and have all my own personal security. Obviously, as president-elect, they've had to give him a full security detail.
I personally think he should be inaugurated. He should be sworn in a private ceremony with video cameras showing it.
Yep.
Because I don't think he should be out there. I think they're going to have snipers everywhere. I
Yeah.
do. I really believe that.
Oh, they're
I
trying
really
to kill
do.
him.
Let me tell you what I posted on my Facebook account. I'm not going to bring it in because there's pictures of people that I have as friends, and I don't want them to go, "Hey man, you should." All right, so ready? And this sums up what I think this election meant. I wrote, take a 10-minute breather today. Put down your phone, step away from your computer, close your eyes, and just marinate in the fact that somehow on Tuesday, we've managed to unfuck the colossal fuck up the Democrats made of this country. Humanity, not exactly known for its unfucking skills, but hey, we just dodged a full-on Soviet nightmare. That's progress, right? This is the plot twist in the story where humanity doesn't fuck it all up. For now. And that's what I think happened on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Pardon the F-bomb.
The interesting thing is
angry.
the outcome was the most optimistic towards Trump that I'd heard anybody predict.
Yeah.
I'd heard most people had the vibes that he was going to win, but nobody figured he was going to do 312.
Yeah.
Oh, but you know what? After the election, there's been a couple of women come forward making allegations against Trump that he beat them.
Tell him to shut up.
No, think about what I just said.
Yeah, I know.
Their names are Hillary and Kamala.
Yeah, okay, there you go. That actually was good. Thank you. Yeah, he beat them. Yeah.
He beat them.
He sure as hell did. Well, I mean, Hillary. All right, Kamala was a bad choice because she really was not up to the task. All right, she just wasn't. She wasn't there. She didn't have an A game, and she was known by everybody that worked with her or for her that she did not do her homework, and she expected. Like, she realized young that because she was a woman of color and California, right, that people would just give her everything she wanted, right, and that's how she lived her life. And I think that she thought she deserved it all, because that's what happens when you go through life and nobody ever tells you that you're wrong. I mean, think about that. People like that who have an attitude and they, like they make excuses for you. Like you wrote the wrong thing here. They're not going to sit there and go, well, look, I did the same thing even though you didn't, right? I did the same thing. Don't worry about it. Everybody makes that mistake. Just fix it.
She's very, very entitled.
Very entitled, and she's not entitled to anything, right? And then Hillary, though, I still contend was the absolute worst candidate any major party ever nominated. She didn't even have an economic plan. And like you said, she's sitting there all puffed up. Now you might be thinking, why aren't I 50 points ahead? Well, because you're a shrew. Because you killed 51 people or had them killed. I mean, because all the bullshit that you went through. I mean, all the criminality that we know about. Yeah, I mean, holy crap. And they say that, like, I watched the Dinesh D'Souza interview on Glenn Beck, and I talked about this before, and he knew his shit, and he said that Hillary would have been a control freak if she was elected, and not just control corporations. She would have controlled the American people. And I think what he was talking about was what they tried to do with the COVID. Okay, they tried to. COVID was all about forcing the people to obey the government. Okay, that's what I believe it was about, because then they were going to bring in their policies that were going to make it a communist state. Seriously. And I think if you saw Brave New World, I think what they wanted was a Brave New World, or what's the other thing? The Great Reset is what they really wanted to do. Because if you think about it, do you know what the Great Reset was? The Klaus Schwab, right? He actually wrote the book called The Great Reset. So it exists. And in there, he gave slogans for policies. And all these left-wing, i.e. socialist countries throughout Europe, did the same thing that Joe Biden did. They used the main phrase. You know what it was? Build back better. Build back better was a great reset, or Agenda 21, if you will, or Brave New World, where there's a rich elite class and politicians who can hobnob with them. And then the rest of us are dirt poor. It's like Brazil, right? The rest of us are dirt poor, and that our lives are spent to make sure that their lives are luxurious. And that's what they wanted. They really wanted that.
At least in this country, they want the population to be afraid and dependent on the government. They want us disarmed, afraid.
Oh, yeah.
That's why they don't worry about the crime, because they want
don't
us
care.
afraid. That's why they want gun control, because they don't want us to be able to. The worst thing to a Democrat is an independent, self-sufficient individual.
That's why they hated Sarah Palin so much. She represented a disobedient middle class. Because you think about it, the middle class has always been like they've been obedient to government. I said this before. Thank you, Senator, for getting my Social Security check straightened out for me. Well, if the senator did his job and government did their job, they wouldn't have to straighten it out, right? Sarah Palin comes along and says, get to the back of the bus. Fuck you. I got my own bus, right? And they hated her for that because they felt that if women and men in the country noticed her and said, wait a minute, look at her. She's fighting back, right? She was Trump before Trump came along with her mouth, right? And I loved every minute of it.
Oh, she did. She did have a mouth on her.
And I loved every minute of it because they deserve to be talked to that way.
Well, they do.
And so she just came out and said, screw you. We're not doing it. And that's why they killed her right off.
You know why they
want us subservient.
You know what they hate worse than a fierce, independent white man?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Do I need to say it?
No,
don't. They need a fierce, independent woman, a fierce, independent black guy. That's what they. I mean, you know as well as I. You take a look at any of the conservative black.
Right on.
Any of the Ron Paul is head of the Fed, maybe.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be great as he dismantles it?
If any of the politicians, like Republican politicians, any conservative black politicians, oh man, they call them names.
Oh yeah.
They call them names I don't even want to repeat.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty rude.
Wow.
Do you think, here's a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think Kamala Harris would have done any better if she would have picked Josh Shapiro?
I think she didn't pick Josh Shapiro because she doesn't like Jews.
Yes, but Biden despised Kamala. And he's an old Dixiecrat racist from way back.
Yeah,
but he picked her for optics reasons.
Yes, because she called him a racist during the primary.
So, do you think she would have done any better with Josh Shapiro?
Yes.
Now, I think if
she was still lost, but
because Josh Shapiro is really quite popular in Pennsylvania, I guess.
Not really, but okay.
That's what I'm told.
We do not like him, and the Democrats, many of them don't like him either. He's a progressive.
Because I've been told he's popular in Pennsylvania, but of course, that also you'd have to measure in the cheating on all the balloting. But I think that she didn't pick him because she knew she had 75% of the Arab vote, and she figured she'd lose it if she had.
That's why she doesn't like Jews.
Shapiro.
She wanted the Arab vote. She lost it anyway.
And she lost it anyway because she's a doofus.
Look at this. Kyle Rittenhouse as director of the ATF as he redefines the Second Amendment to erase the purview of the ATF. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. Now, what we need to do, we can't get rid of the ATF. What we have to do, there's got to be some things done in order. First, we have to dismantle the NFA. And it looks like that's going to go forward. There's various things like the Shush Act. I forget what it stands for, but there's a couple of things going forward to take out sound suppressors from the NFA. And if we can chip away at it, just putting it to vote to get rid of it, that's not going to happen. But if we can chip away at it, then what do you do when you basically don't have an NFA anymore? Then the ATF has no reason to exist. The problem is if you dismantle the ATF like today, the functions relating to the NFA, National Firearms Act, for anyone who's forgetting, yeah, that's one of them, Bubbity. If you dismantled the ATF, all the functions related to the NFA would suddenly be dispersed elsewhere, and it would be much harder to go after some of those things. So the ideal way would be to get rid of the NFA and then maybe the GCA, Gun Control Act.
Yep.
And once you get rid of those two things, there's no reason for the ATF to exist. So you can just completely dismantle it.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be advisable to get rid of those two pieces of legislation first.
Well, the only reason they felt that they had the right to create an ATF was because alcohol, tobacco, and firearms is mentioned in the Constitution. That's why they thought they had the right to do it.
Well, they're a taxation organization. They were initially under the Treasury.
Right.
And, you know, if you want to put a tax on alcohol and tobacco, I mean, I guess they can keep track of that.
Yeah.
You know, and then they regulate things. They regulate things under the auspices of a tax, because the $200 that you pay to, for instance, register a suppressor or an other NFA item like a short-barreled rifle,
yeah,
is not a fee. It's a tax, and you get a little stamp, a physical stamp.
Yep.
You actually get a physical stamp that says tax paid. That's the only way they get away with it.
Yep.
Yeah, well, the first thing, but Trump has said he would sign this. He's in favor of national reciprocity. And I'm thinking, why is this even an issue? If you have a driver's license, I don't need a different driver's license to drive through Kansas or Utah or California. I can go rent a car in California. Nobody questions it.
Right.
If I'm married, my marriage certificate is valid in all 50 states. Why is a carry permit that involves far, far more investigation than
right
a driving permit? Driving permit, you get out and, you know, you drive around the block. They say, here, okay, here's your driver's license. Getting a carry permit, there's all kinds of police investigation that you go through. And
well, they'll say because the only purpose of a gun is to kill, and that's not true either.
Well, you know, the purpose is what you use it for. It's a tool. It's a tool like any other.
Yeah.
And if that tool kills someone, it means it's just a tool that is very good for that particular thing. Fact is, there's something like 47 to 48,000 deaths related to firearms per year. There's anywhere between 1 million and 3 million defensive uses. And I'm sorry, if I got a crook coming through the front door and he is shot, I do not consider that I mean, that's legitimate, man.
Progressive district attorneys will take your ass to court.
Yeah, well,
they will charge you with
depending on where
crimes.
you are, they may very well.
Yeah, they'll charge. Look at the McCluskeys, but you know what? They now have insurance for that. They have firearms insurance. If you have a legal shoot to defend yourself, and you are charged, they will provide lawyers for you that specialize.
There's various
Unbelievable.
programs. You got to be careful when you say insurance, because insurance is, by law, may not cover illegal activities. So if
they said if it's a legal shoot.
Well, wait for it. What happens is, if you go with a lot of these programs that are insurance programs, guess who gets to decide whether it's a legal shoot? Is the person
insurance
at the
company.
Insurance company.
Right.
And then even if they agree to help you, if you are convicted, they no longer can represent you. And
I don't know about that.
And no, it's true, because at that moment, it's been declared illegal, so they may not, by law, represent you anymore. And a number of them have a policy that they go back over the expenditures that they spent for your trial because you've been found guilty. They will not cover you. Now, there's an exception called attorneys on retainer. It's not an insurance company, and they will represent you. Now, by the way, I'm not a shill for attorneys on retainer. I get nothing for this. But they have attorneys. Oh, and the other thing with those insurance companies, when you pick up the phone to call and report that something's happened,
right,
you're talking to a stooge over there. All of it is subject to subpoena. When you pick up the phone and call attorneys on retainer, you're talking to a lawyer. It is privileged communications.
Okay.
So, and this is representation by a lawyer. They will take you on no matter what. And if you're a member, they also say that, even if it is not a good shoot, they will represent you anyway at a reduced rate. So they'll still represent. They don't care. They will do their job. But the nice thing is they will carry you through. They will do the job. They will do your appeal. And they're the only ones that can do that. The other ones that are set up insurance, insurance, they can't. They are so limited. And like I said, when you call them up, the person you're reporting it to is some sort of stenographer that everything you say is subject to subpoena. So anyway, that's my little bit of a rant. So
yep. Let's see if I got one more story to do. Just in Carrie Lake. Let's do this one. Okay. This is trending politics. Just in, Carrie Lake slashes her opponent's lead after latest ballot drop. The long-awaited arrival of ballots from Arizona's Maricopa County has brought good news to Carrie Lake, the firebrand U.S. Senate candidate, still in the running against Democratic Representative Ruben Gallego, who is a communist, by the way. The Lake campaign on Thursday night revealed that the Republican picked up 57.39% of the nearly 70,000 ballot drop from Maricopa County. The result puts her a hair's width of overtaking Gallego's 0.7% lead. He holds a 43,846 vote lead, with over 75% of the vote counted, according to NBC News. God, I hope she gets in. A third-party candidate, Eduardo Quintana, managed to siphon away more than that, or 53.596. So this is at 3.9 million residents. Maricopa is by far the most populated part of the battleground state. Yeah, like everybody lives there. The Phoenix-anchored county was the site of the contentious 2020 recount battle when President-elect Donald Trump asserted that President Joe Biden did not actually win the state. I don't think he did either. I think Hobbs, who was the Secretary of State at the time, I think she played some shenanigans. She should have got that. She should have recused herself as well. But she knew everything she was doing. Plus, they had the private company that did the sorting with no poll watchers or vote counters actually from the Republican Party in that private company before it went to the count center. Bullshit. Since then, Lake 55 has modulated her message toward the center, appealing to moderate voters who backed Hobbs in 2022. At 52.5%, President Trump ran ahead of Lake by 4.4%, forcing her into a tightrope, President Trump, into a tightrope walk to keep both MAGA and moderate voters in her camp. She leaned heavily into immigration messaging, accusing Gallego of voting with the Biden-Harris administration to open a porous passageway, it's true, along the state's southern border. Her campaign garnered support from Trump as well as a majority of Republican senators eager to curry favor with one of the most pro-Trump challengers of the cycle. Yeah, McCormick, my guy. On Thursday, Pennsylvania Republican Senate candidate Dave McCormick was declared the winner over Senator Bob I Know Nothing Casey, padding the party's nascent majority and consigning the Democratic caucus to an even smaller minority. Good. I think we're going to have 53 or 54 by the time it's over. Republicans are now expected to hold at least 53 seats in the upper chamber. You know why they call it the upper chamber? Jay, do you know why they called it? Everybody goes, because the
I think it was when they initially started, it was physically upstairs.
Yes, it was. The House was downstairs. The Senate was upstairs. That's the absolute truth. And Lisa Murkowski, let me say, what am I? 53 seats in the upper chamber, weakening the bargaining power of centrist members like Senators Lisa Murkowski, Rhino, and Susan Collins, Rhino, assuming McCormick and other newly elected members like Tim Sheehy, good man, Bernie Moreno, good man, and Jim Justice, don't know him, are more agreeable with stringently conservative legislation. The GOP may be able to pass sweeping economic and social policies over the objections of both moderate senators. Lake's race is the lone outlier yet to be called. Yeah, because they want to steal it from her.
Yeah, I think that the numbers I look at are a little bit bolder, but I just checked. The House is 200 for Dems, 212 for Republicans, and so it's close. Looks like Arizona, we have 81% of the vote counted. Trump has had like 6 points. Kerry Lake is behind by, I think, 1 and a bit.
Okay.
So it looks like presidential-wise, we've got Arizona. I think we're going to come up just short for Senate. It's too bad. I would love to see Kerry Lake in there.
Friend sent me this. Jimmy Dore is a liberal that I like, actually, because he has some common sense, and he did a thing called word salad on Kamala. Let's just watch a little bit.
Take a trip down memory lane with our favorite vice president, Kamala Harris, and
he's the best. The K-Hive?
I think I just gave the audience a dry heave.
It's the K-Heave.
The K-Heave, yeah. So here we are. Let's start off with some of our favorite hits.
You know, when we talk about our children, I know for this group, we all believe that when we talk about the children of the community, they are the children of the community.
You know, I knew that everybody in the audience tonight would love this clip in the audience tonight. She does make an excellent point. You should have your speech written before you go on stage.
Yeah.
Here we go. Want to see another one? Another one? Here we go. I got another one. Here we go.
We all watched the television coverage of just yesterday. That's on top of everything else that we know and don't know yet, based on what we've just been able to see. And because we've seen it or not doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But just limited to what we have seen.
What? Okay, I'm going to play that again. That's fucking...
We all watched the television coverage of just yesterday. That's on top of everything else that we know and don't know yet, based on what we've just been able to see. And because we've seen it or not doesn't mean it hasn't happened.
That's great.
But just limited to what we have seen.
There you go.
She sounds like the jock from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure doing his book report. Things are bigger and yet smaller. San Dimas High School football rules.
My favorite is her one about time.
You know, somewhere Dan
Passage
Quayle
of
is going,
time.
fucking right.
I owe Dan Quayle an apology.
That's right.
I just spelled potato wrong, and now this girl's lip syncing.
Yeah,
It's like
actually
they
didn't.
spring, like she goes on a trip, and like, oh, you got to give a speech about what? Yeah, figure it out. We got to do the thing that we continue to do.
That's how I would talk if you locked me in a car
remember
trunk
that
for
one,
3 weeks and then let me out. Like, huh? Oh, here we go. We got another one. Here we go.
And we were all doing a tour of the library here and talking about the significance of the passage of time.
There it is.
Right?
I
The
love it.
significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Sure, go on.
You know what's great? She could literally make any of these speeches, just mix and match them at different spots, and it'd be the same effect.
Because none of them make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look how long her finger is.
What was this? What was this?
You know, I think
Guys are
her
liberals, guys.
stepchildren must hate her during the passage of time.
What did she
I
actually
hear they're not
say?
exactly a K-hive.
I don't know. I don't know. I think she's waiting for Joe Biden for some passage of time. That could heartbeat away from the presidency.
Yeah.
Heartbeat away. And you know, she was right, Steph. It was 2 years ago, Biden went under the knife again. They didn't talk about it, but when the president goes under anesthesia,
She's president.
she was the first president. Female president was her. And you know, there was one person pissed off.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Right? She was like, God damn it, Bill! Ah! And then she had someone killed.
That's how
Probably she did.
that's how the Clintons relieve stress. They put a hurt on somebody.
Yeah.
Whitey Bulger.
Yeah, like Whitey Bulger.
You take a nap after a murder.
Do you think every time a Biden clone shows up, she gets more pissed? She's like, fuck, another one's got to die, right?
That is a long finger.
It is a long.
Keep pointing to her finger.
Nicely done.
Nice.
It just looks like anyway. Anyway, so here she is when she went to Poland, and they were asking her a question about the Polish refugees from Ukraine, from the Ukraine war coming to Poland. And watch this, it's very
Is the
funny.
United States willing to make a specific allocation for Ukrainian refugees? And for President Duda, I wanted to know if you think, and if you asked the United States to specifically accept more refugees.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend indeed.
Oh my God. Exactly.
Okay, so this
I
time.
heard the State of the Union.
That's how you laugh at slapstick.
Yeah.
That's not how you laugh at Ukrainian refugees.
Exactly.
Dude, did you ever watch that show, The IT Crowd? She's like the chick from that.
Yeah.
Who's the IT Crowd?
Oh.
She,
Yeah.
what's the
Hey,
the
Chris,
Reddit-
did you hear that funny joke about the Ukrainian refugees? They want money. So here's another one. Watch this. She's really a storyteller too. She can. she's like a modern. Watch this.
Which brings me to May 30th, 2020. Bob and Doug returned to the Kennedy Space Center. They suited up. They waved to their families, and they rode an elevator up nearly 20 stories. They strapped in to their seats and waited as the tanks beneath them filled with tens of thousands of gallons of fuel.
All right.
And then They launched. Yeah, they did.
It's like a modern day Garrison Keillor, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my God, that's funny.
Jimmy, they went up nearly 20 stories. Imagine the 20th floor of a building, if you can. Nearly, so 19 stories?
No, 20.
I entered the elevator. I counted all the buttons, and I pressed 20.
Hey, Linda, what's up?
Oh, I'm serious.
She talks to people like she's one of those YouTube kids programs. Have you ever watched those creepy fucks that do that?
Yeah.
And they talk, hi, how are you? They talk to you like you're stupid. That's how she talks to America.
Talks to America like she's addressing a third grade class.
Yeah, like it's romper room.
Whether your eyes are open or your eyes are closed, if you can see it or you can't see it.
I just want to say, yes, that's exactly what astronauts do. Now do vice presidents.
Yeah.
One small step for man, one giant brain fart for mankind.
There you go.
You can tell she laughs when she's trying to buy time to think of her next line, right? Like, okay, where was I going with this? That's exactly what she's doing.
And she's got a million mundane stories, matter of fact, just like that. Just like that. A million of them. She's got a million of them. Here's one more. Here we go.
Look back, did Democrats fail, past Democratic presidents, congressional leaders, to not codify Roe v. Wade over the past 5 decades?
I think that, to be very honest with you, I do believe that we should have rightly believed, but we certainly believe that certain issues are just settled. Certain issues are just settled.
Clearly we're not.
No, that's right. And that's why I do believe that we are living, sadly, in real unsettled times.
You can't fucking do that.
Yeah, I know.
You can't say that was settled, but it wasn't. Yeah, I know. We're living in
I know. It
unsettled
wasn't
times.
so. Yeah. That's funny. God damn, stupid moron.
Do you think this is worse, or Nikki Haley trying to answer what the Civil War was about? If you were to pick wow.
I don't remember that. What did Nikki Haley do?
Somebody asked her what caused the Civil War, and she had to not say slavery, I guess, and gave a real Kamala Harris level answer.
Well, you know that October 7th happened by Hamas because it was Putin's birthday. You know that, right? You know that, right? That's what she said.
Like, coincidence?
Oh, these lizard people trying to act like human beings are hilarious, right? She looks so uncomfortable in her meat suit. It's just so weird.
I think this is the first time that the U.S. government and this administration is the least English proficient government on the face of the earth.
Yeah, think about that.
That's a big statement.
It's a big statement, but I have to say it's true.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of weird that the chick who's considered the DNC town bite because everyone's rode her is wearing a pearl necklace. I think that's kind of weird too.
Come on.
Is that too much? Sorry. Okay, wrong show.
You know, I'm gonna have
That
to.
was
I'm
low.
gonna have to cut that out of the YouTube video.
Okay, bye.
You know, I'm feeling kind of close to this audience right now, and I have a confession to make. I woke up this morning and I had a stomach ache, and I was like, oh, gotta go get an abortion. You know, while I can.
That's Kamala's campaign.
Okay, who am I kidding? These eggs are dead.
Come see us do a live stand-up show. We'll be in Venice, California, Palmdale.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Oh, that was low. I loved it.
Yeah.
The last one about the pearl necklace. That was like way low. That was
low. Yeah.
That was
I'm
low.
surprised they didn't cut it.
That was crude.
Yeah, I'm
And-
surprised they didn't cut it out. Well, guys, we are
and-
over 3 hours.
Yeah, I think we're just about there.
Do me a favor, guys. Hit that like button before you take off if you haven't already, please.
Yeah, we love the likes.
Yeah, we
And
do.
next week, bring a friend.
Yep. Please do. Bring 10 if you have 10 friends. So that's good.
Is that about it, Rich?
Yeah, I think that's about it. I think I read everything.
I think we've.
Everything we prepped for the show.
Solve the ills of the world. I hope everybody should have a good weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend, and just know that, you know, everything's going to be all right in the future.
You know, we can't
For a
predict the
while.
future, but I got this there's at least there's hope.
Yeah, well, now there
We
is.
it's like I said, it's the ending of Terminator. You're driving along and you don't know, but at least we have hope now because we've taken it out.
I
So-
want to see a reckoning, and I want to see it swift and hard, and then they go to full governing. I want to see them get it out of the way, but it has to be done.
I would be careful how you do that. Like, for instance,
Got it, Chris.
I don't see any sense in going after Joe.
Well, he's not going to understand what the hell's going on anyway. But no, there's a lot of people.
But there's a lot of people.
I mean,
you know,
holy Christ, Alejandro Mayorkas.
Judge Merchan should be worried about his
Merchan should
future.
be. Yeah, but he can't go after Merchan. Well, you know what? Technically, he can. And I'll say this. Because Merchan was such a low-life scumball that he converted those state documents charges that the statute ran out 6 years prior into the federal system, which he didn't have the right to do. So the Trump administration come forward and go, oh, you wanted to get into the federal system? Okay, now you're in the federal system. Come with us.
Yeah.
We're going to put you at a black site. I would do it, but that's me. But I hope they, with a vengeance, they go in. And I hope they do it in a Mao type thing where they go, you know what? You're going to go before the American people. Because these pricks made Trump's lawyers actually speak, like, especially down in Fulton County in Georgia. They made them sit there in order to get their plea agreement. They had to sit there and say, I'm very sorry. I shouldn't have done what I did. And all they were doing was representing their client, who was the president of the United States.
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
Listen, Rich,
They
we're
did.
getting into a whole other topic we can get into next week because I'm sure you could do a monologue for the next 28 minutes on that.
I probably could.
Yeah.
And
So
I would call Mark and bring him in, and he would talk about it.
yeah, let's do some of that next week.
All
Love
right,
to see
guys.
everybody back next week.
Thank you very much, guys, for being here. We love you. We love that you come here every single week and spend 3 hours with us. It's
Thank
awesome.
you for spending part of your Friday evening with us. Love and kisses, pat in the ass.
Look at you. You really want to get the hell out of here, don't you?
I'm done.
Yeah, I know. You didn't take any Advil for your ass this week?
No, but I got a place to put my feet up, so my ass isn't too bad.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you for being here, Special K. All you guys, thank you so much.
All of you guys.
Yeah. All right, people. I'll talk to you guys later. I'm not going to play the outro because it was kind of cheesy. But all right, we're out of here, guys. Have a great weekend. Love you all. I'll see you next week. Watch my videos. Thank you. Bye.